aboard those military helicopters. They flew low and fast for an hour and 10 minutes and came under fire as they approached the target.
Al-Baghdadi was chased by American forces into an underground tunnel where he detonated a suicide vest. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien says this operation should serve as a warning.
The United States has a long reach, and the men and women of our armed services executed this mission flawlessly, took him down, and his colleagues that are still alive should be worried.
O'Brien on NBC's Meet the Press. The military mission drawing bipartisan comments of praise.
It was certainly an appropriate mission to green light, and so in that regard, the president made the right decision. Now we need him to continue to make appropriate decisions moving forward.
But House Democratic Caucus Chairman Hakeem Jeffries of New York, also on Meet the Press, still critical of the president for withdrawing American troops from northern Syria, saying that could cause much more instability in the region. America is listening to Fox News.
What's for breakfast at KFC under $3.95, you ask? What's for breakfast at KFC that's different than the other guys, you ask? KFC's chicken wrap, sausage wrap, the Colonel's chicken congee, chicken fried steak, sausage biscuit and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger-licking good.
Half a day. Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Jade Uggan of Umatic, and this is where I start my day. Listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanonmo. Protect your land. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Winds are whipping a wildfire in Northern California, and authorities are warning people to get out of its path.
The Kincaid fire in California's wine country has led Sonoma County Sheriff Mark Essick to require that residents get out of harm's way.
We have over 180,000 people under evacuation right now.
Forecasters say fire warnings will likely persist into Monday, so it's not known when residents will be able to go home. For that reason, Sheriff Essick says evacuated property will be protected.
We've not had any reports of looting at this point, and as far as I'm concerned, we're going to take a very aggressive standpoint on looting. We will not tolerate it.
Officials say residents not under evacuation orders should still be ready to leave at a moment's notice. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
California Governor Gavin Newsom declaring a state of emergency as those wildfires spread. A group of mothers in Mexico uncover a mass grave with at least 42 bodies.
The mothers made the discovery near the resort town of Puerto Penasco. That's about a 3-hour drive south of Phoenix. The women are known as Searching Mothers of Sonora, and they investigate burial sites to find missing loved ones. The group is made up of relatives of missing people and was formed due to unsuccessful police investigations. 2 of the bodies were decomposed. Some of the bodies were discovered late last week, and others were found over the weekend. Marcus White, Fox News.
President Trump's former chief of staff breaking his silence on the impeachment inquiry. John Kelly says acting chief of staff Mick Mulvaney and other advisors are partially to blame for the inquiry due to their inability to keep the president out of trouble.
I have an awful lot of, to say the least, second thoughts about leaving.
Kelly speaking at a political conference hosted by the Washington Examiner. He says he believes things would have been different if he had stayed at the White House. I'm Kathleen Maloney. This is Fox News.
Want 10% off your next flight to the U.S.? Now through October 31, receive 10% off select United Airlines flights to the U.S. when you purchase your ticket with your United credit card or United Mileage Plus credit card from First Hawaiian Bank. Use promo code FHB019 when booking your flight. With a travel sale like this, you could wake up to a different sunrise in any part of the U.S. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 19 to learn more. Terms and conditions and restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC.
Life happens. You need to go to work. The kids need to go to school. There are family events, friend events, any event, and everyone needs to communicate. When you need mobile services that you know you can rely on, choose GTA. As the winner of Ookla's 2019 award for Best Mobile Coverage on Guam, You can rely on us to offer you better plans to modernize your life, fit your needs, and keep you connected. So visit us today and let us help you connect. GTA, we start with you.
Konnichiwa! We'll be celebrating the 40th Japan Autumn Festival on Saturday, November 16th from 2 until 9 at the Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park. That's Ipao Beach Park. Parking will be available across Oka Payless with free shuttle service every 15 minutes starting at 1:30. Advance tickets available now at the Japan Club of Guam office located on the first floor of Pia Marine during business hours. The Japan Autumn Festival at Ipao Beach Park, November 16th from 2 to 9. Come join us. For information, call 646-8066. This message made possible by Choice Broadcasting.
Half a day and good morning. It's 6:06. I'm Mana Silva Tyron with some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A customer at Lucky Land Game Room in Dededo was arrested and faces charges in connection with a robbery of the establishment nearly 3 weeks ago. 25-year-old Timothy Michael Gay was charged with robbery, theft, and assault. He allegedly demanded money from the female cashier and struck her several times before grabbing several $100s from the till. Police were able to identify the suspect from the surveillance video. According to the magistrate's complaint, Gay admitted to the robbery and stated to authorities he needed the money to care for his family. A man was arrested on Friday evening after he allegedly tried to make off with a shopping cart filled with over $1,000 in groceries from the Oka Payless. Police were called after Brian Cliff Rabone walked out of the store without paying for the merchandise. Rabone was charged with theft as a third-degree felony. Another incident of a parent leaving a child unattended in a parked car this weekend has led to the arrest of a man. Songhyung Park was charged with a misdemeanor after he allegedly left his 4-year-old child in a car at Kmart. The incident occurred late Friday when another customer spotted the child sleeping in the vehicle about 10:40 p.m. She and Kmart workers tried to wake the child by knocking on the car window. The child's father eventually came out around 11 p.m. and told police the car was parked while he was waiting for his wife's flight to arrive at 2 in the morning the next day. Park was charged with leaving the child unattended in a motor vehicle. This is the second such incident to occur in recent weeks. The first occurred when a woman left her 6-month-old in a parked vehicle at the University of Guam. More news after this.
Live the balanced lifestyle. Take Care Insurance offers proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage individuals and families to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle through preventative care, being active, eating right, relaxing and unwinding, and being socially connected. They have the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs for all ages. Join the movement. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram or visit TakeCareAsia.com to learn more.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your fix every day with the Points NFL Pick'em contest. Get the latest updates as we check out the past week's performance and break down the upcoming action. Get your game on by calling the hotline at 888-TALK or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome weekly prizes with a shot for your choice of a new GTA phone. The NFL Pick'em contest is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
Congressman Mike Nicholas says he'll stay on the job despite the House Ethics Committee launching an ethics investigation into allegations that he had sexual relations with a member of his congressional staff. Certain members of Congress have taken leave or resigned when dealing with grave allegations. Nicholas, however, says the allegations are nothing but distractions to derail him from his job. Nicholas is also under investigation by the committee for allegedly converting campaign funds to personal use and accepting improper or excessive campaign contributions. The Washington, D.C.-based media organization Roll Call also reported Friday that while delegates were granted the ability to vote on bills related to the committee of the whole, Nicholas voted just 47% of the time. The report states he missed 138 out of 259 votes so far. Nicholas said that he has had to weigh what legislation to focus on based on what's important for Guam. He added that he had to weigh trade-offs between staying in Washington and the need to also touch base and visit constituents in Guam. He says we cannot be in two places at once, and he says so as many decisions on where there needs to be, it's a strategic trade-off. Nicholas adds that his outcomes as a freshman in The last 10 months have been unprecedented. The Chamorro Land Trust Commission held the first of several planned listening sessions regarding land trust issues. The session on Friday was open to southern villages, but only about 24 people showed up. CLTC Administrator Jack Hattig said it wouldn't be the last meeting for southern constituents and the agency. Now, there were a range of topics covered from access ways and surveying to financial lending and farming. In particular, he says they discussed the lack of funding for government-conducted surveys. Hattig says a survey and infrastructure fund was created with the intent of funding government-conducted surveys, but right now there's no money in that account. He says it was highly publicized during the previous administration that money was transferred out of that particular fund, so he will try to make sure that money is put back into the fund. Another hot topic is the inability of property owners to get leases from banks. Housing Corp President Alice Tyron says the Guam Housing Corporation is the only local institution lending money to CLTC leaseholders. She says she's working with the CLTC to find out why local banks aren't lending to Chamorro Land Trust holders. The CLTC plans on holding town hall meetings for central and northern villages in November and December. And those are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now is Ray with your weather.
Says here, partly cloudy skies, Mana, with isolated showers. Winds from the east 10 to 15 miles an hour, decreasing 5 to 15 tonight. Highs around 89 degrees, and overnight lows should be about 78 degrees. Sunrise this morning at 6:13. In fact, for the first time in a while, the sun is coming up in a minute from now. We've been telling you that it came up at 10 after or whatever, but I'm actually in front of this. It's weird. Sunset tonight at 5:55, and that's what we got for you, the basic weather forecast. Michael Knight, Duke Sky Talker, will tell you what he sees on the weather radar here this morning. Let me get that up on the screen.
Yeah, just some isolated showers out there, kind of signs of what's coming. For today, looking at isolated showers and some east winds that you mentioned, about 10 to 15 miles per hour. More clouds will move in tonight. We'll show you that on satellite here in just a moment. As a weak trade wind disturbance comes on through. It is weak, but it looks like it's got plenty of moisture with it, and we can see all that blobbage off to the right side of the screen, just under the logo there. And so that'll be coming on in starting later on tonight and into tomorrow, just giving us a better chance for some showers, but nothing too widespread, no organized systems that will come to threaten us anytime soon. Starting to look like we're getting a little bit of a break in the tropics. And as I'm looking at the forecast models, in particular the GFS forecast model, showing the very first of what should be a pretty strong surge, pushing down at least into the upper northernmost Marianas Islands, maybe sometime in the first week of next month. So about 10 days out. So showing signs that the changes are taking place.
Oh, I definitely can feel that. You could feel that yesterday over at the beach. As soon as the sun went over a certain, latitude off in one of the directions, it began to cool off significantly, and much cooler water temperatures in the last few days as a result of, I guess, that change in the season that we got. 6:13, that's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
Hulu is all your TV in one place, plus more. Watch thousands of hit shows, movies, and award-winning Hulu originals for only $5.99 per month. It's TV without the cable contract and the freedom of on-demand streaming. Get current network shows from ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, and binge-watch every season of your favorite cable shows. Premium Hulu viewing is brought to you by Proline Automotive and AB Sports, Guam's store for Nike. To advertise on Hulu, call Choice Digital at 989-0042.
6:15 in the morning, the Ray Gibson Show, brought to you by APL, American President Lines. It's a global presence and a local home, also brought to you by Wendy's. Now, normally I'd tell you about the breakfast over at Wendy's. You know, we get the eggs and the rice and breakfast meat for like $4, Applewood smoked bacon, yada, yada, yada. But I had the occasion over the weekend to hit up a Wendy's. There was a concoction that there was a quest for this concoction. It was chili spaghetti. Now, you can get spaghetti at Wendy's, but did you know that you can ask them to leave out the regular spaghetti sauce and instead put chili in it?
I bet you they could put Spam in it, too.
I bet, if you ask, or maybe some Applewood bacon, but I just love the idea that they said, yeah, we don't have a problem. You want to eat it like that? No sweat. Pick it up at the drive-thru. And I did. The real deal for breakfast or really anytime is Wendy's. Now, that's better.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
outside yet to take a look at whether we got a decent sunrise or not, but I do have a screen cap. I do have a picture from, looks like this is from Pam Duvall's house, of what the sun is looking like as it breaks the plane up in Jigo here this morning. So it looks good up in Jigo. I'm going to assume it looks good everywhere else. If you're up and we got a gorgeous sunrise over at your place, do me a favor. Take a snap with your cell phone and WhatsApp it to us at 988-5874. That's 988-5874. Welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. It's the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3. My name is Ray Gibson, and I get to play a radio guy here with a couple of very close, very dear personal friends and acquaintances of mine. Well, I guess I shouldn't refer to her as a friend. It's my baby sister, Mona Silva Tyron's going to be doing some news and headlines from the Guam Daily Post. You have a good weekend?
Absolutely. Very busy, but it was a great weekend.
So how was the open house? I missed the open house.
It was awesome. It was really, really nice. The weather held up. I got to shoot guns.
I thought there wasn't going to be any gun shooting.
There was gun shooting.
There was, but
and it was a big gun, and I hit a target actually.
I mean,
no, it
like
was
an
a big
actual,
one. I
like a machine gun thing.
I thought it was kind of heavy. Guess I'm a weakling, but I needed help carrying the thing. I shot it, and I hit a target.
See, that's I had thought I was going to go.
I told you to come.
But I made plans right. Yes, Mike.
It was a 50 cal.
It was. See, I saw the picture. I saw the pictures too. 50 cal, and all the pictures I saw.
I didn't shoot that one. I didn't shoot that one. A smaller one.
The smaller version of a big gun.
Yeah.
Did it make a big noise?
It did.
Did you wear your?
It did.
Did they give you hearing protection?
No, but they gave me something to cover my eyes.
What?
They gave me eye protection.
But wait a second. So okay, but you could still see what you were shooting at.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it wasn't one of those ready, fire, aim situations.
She was shooting a flintlock, Ray. That's why she needed the eye protection.
There was a target. I don't know.
Michael Knight, Duke Sky Talker, also spending some time with us, and he's just today is one of those days. If we call the radio station, let the phone ring because Michael Knight is going to be distracted in a lot of different places. It's Monday, and that means we got all the Sunday games that are going on.
That's
right. I've already lost two of the picks, and the other ones are kind of tight games, Tennessee and Indianapolis. More on that in a couple of minutes. But so far, with a bunch of games played, I'm 5 in. So if I'm lucky, should be able to get into double digits again this weekend.
We were exactly the same this go around. So whatever you get's one I'm going to get too.
Yeah. So whose idea was it to go with the Buffalo Bills this weekend against Philly? You want to talk about your upsets there? Philly has come in. They were prepared for the game and beat the Bills this morning, 31-13.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where the Bills probably a better team on paper, but you had certain key matchups in that game that just spelled a lack of ability for the Bills to get some points on the board.
Well, and there's other reasons why Michael Knight is going to be happy and distracted, and that is the Houston Astros have come back to it's a new World Series basically.
It really is, basically down to the best 2 of 3, and in my thoughts, of course, I'm an Astros fan, but you're not going to beat Verlander and Cole twice in a World Series, so it's looking real good for us. It's got to go back to Houston now. And basically, we beat them 2 games at home, kind of the same way they beat us 2 games at home. Had one game that was kind of close on Saturday. 4-1 was the final of that one. And then we spanked them real good yesterday.
So Houston guys are all sitting around. And there's the memes floating around on Facebook that say, take it back, take it back. So,
but it's like I said, even when they spanked us at one time, one game is not indicative of a team's character. And the fact that we beat them fairly easily yesterday, that is not indicative of what the Nationals are. They're a very good ball club. I actually really expect them to win this game today and then Houston to sweep it the next 2 at home. That's how I'm calling it.
Let's see what everybody's saying here on the Facebook Live. We'll jump into that real quick.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Buttons.
And they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Yeah, and there was a whole lot of that over the weekend. I'll give you a heads up on my adventure starting on Friday. But first, I got to do shouts to the guys. The top 10 this morning on Facebook Live include Al Bautista and Rico Blancaflores online this morning. Ismael comes in at number 3. There's Sandra De Leon Guerrero, Heather Perez, Gary Shonalls, Anita Muffness with the pretty Valentine's eyes back in the top 10. It's nice to see you there. John Ray's on, Lady D, and Carl T.C. Gutierrez. Uncle Carl has made the top 10 list here this morning. Normally number one. We start talking about, political genius and that kind of thing. We elevate him to number one. But in terms of Facebook Live and who's able to get in there and names that I saw first, I got Carl Gutierrez in there. Who else is playing around this morning? Who's going to make my day? Dennis Ben-Sur is online. My buddy Tom Tahadzi. Tom, Alicia Uggan and the folks over at Habitat for Humanity were very, very happy on Friday night when at some point in the program, I'm trying to remember exactly where it was, but we stopped things down, and I was able to finally give them the $100 for every decade that I've been in radio, and that's a $400 donation that Tom Tahadzi made through me to the Habitat for Humanity, and I was very, very happy to give that up, and they were very, very happy to receive it. Nate Horn's online, says only 5 more days till Friday. That's it, buddy. Start the countdown now. Sandra de Leon Guerrero saying, happy Monday. Nick Perlowski's got his hoik. James Howard, who's already woken up frisky, and you'll be able to tell by some of his comments, including this one. Yeah, 22nd place, just as I planned. Now, what was it? There was something, James, that you had posted over the weekend, and it looked like it was a takeoff of something that the president is alleged to have posted over the weekend about something big is happening. Now, when James got his hands on it, he said something big was happening, and then he put a little alien sticker at the end of the quote. Did aliens land somewhere?
Now, James is convinced that full alien disclosure will take place at any moment.
And the president
by the government, yeah.
The actual president's going to come out and say there are aliens, they live among you, and they're actually, the pitcher for the Houston Astros, actual alien guy.
That's what he thinks.
All right, well, we'll see what happens before the end of the day. I thought when the president tweeted something big was going to happen, I suspect that it might be some kind of armed military incursion, and it was.
It's funny because I saw the story on CBS, and I can't keep up with the names. I thought this dude was dead years ago.
Which guy?
This Baghdadi guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they took out the leader of ISIS, but that means in 20 minutes there'll be a new leader of ISIS that they're going to have to take out. Firestarter, I got Ed Massey's online this morning. Ismail says only 2 more weeks until Veterans Day, when everybody changes their Facebook profile to when they were sexy in uniform. All right, gotcha. Looking forward to that in some cases. My pal Pam Duvall is online this morning. Thanks very much for the picture, James and Ismail and Keena McCausland, Gabrielle Williams online this morning. James Lester Lonzo with a good morning wish to everybody. Lady D likes the shirt. I like the shirt too.
Very nice. I like the color.
Dig it. It's what color is it? It's like salmon, right?
Or a peach.
Somebody
salmon or peach.
Somebody asked me if I was going to be wearing a pink shirt to support the breast cancer awareness and things like that. I actually own pink shirts, but I'm not crazy about the trends. It's for me helping out the Cancer Society and being watchdog and assist.
You could do a pink ribbon too.
I kind of do that all year. There's always an excuse to support the Cancer Society. So I don't know. Stop down and wear pink just for a day or a month. Doesn't seems kind of, I don't know.
I have a red shirt.
It seems kind of virtue signaling,
See, you can't see the design on his shirt, but it's a little pineapple.
Little marijuanas. They're little tiny marijuana things with glasses.
It's a pineapple with sunglasses.
It's pineapple with sunglasses. I like the shirt too. Kind of like the way it fits. Let me see. Dennis Ben-Sur says, "Who picked the Eagles to beat the Bills?" And I think the answer to that question is nobody. I think the Eagles are probably surprised they beat the Bills here this morning. Fredo Mendoza is online. Charlene Marchessault is there. Who else? Chris Abalencia. I got Joe Leasealangi. Yoich Ringil says Ali Ray and Nungil Tutao. Renee and Pat Taitagui online. Andy Camacho says in Palau you can swim with jellyfish. In Aganya you can swim with. It's not just Aganya anymore. Uh-oh. It's not just Aganya. What was it? Somebody, I think it was PDN or maybe PNC, somebody came with the best headline, which was, it's #2 for Department of Parks and Rec.
I'm sorry, but I'm happy because I get to use that sound effect for a whole other show.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else is hanging out online? Joe Leasealangi and James Howard, I already said his name. Shauna Bentley. Randy Kruger is waving at us all over the place. Mingo Ree is there. And look, Dee Dee Chrysostomo is online this morning. Ken LG. Kevin Canata, Mark Mendiola's hanging out. Mark, we might be in touch with you a little bit. There's a lot of stuff going on with the Department of Education and a lot of vendors of the Department of Education that'd like to know when they're going to be able to get a check. I know you guys have been talking about that over the last couple of days, so it's possible we might go over that ground here this morning. Hava Bennett Lujan Duenas and Tina Buendito.
You know, knowing how Matapang people here on Guam are, somebody probably just rolled by the Dedido pool and threw some doggy poop in there.
Could
you know.
I don't know, and you're right. There's multiple Matapangs in town. Very, very good use of the word. Thank you very much. I appreciate that you're embracing the culture. Marilou Simmons online. Kate Baltazar Dodge. Good morning to you. What's that, Lily? Marilou saying good morning. Well, good morning to you. Lillian Cruz with a buenas greeting. Hi, Roland Torres and Marisa Blond. Trusso has been showing up on this feed every day for the last week or so. I think we are her new morning habit. Fun way to interact with the radio. You can do this now with the Facebook Live. You can watch and participate from YouTube Live, but I don't really watch the YouTube feed. So if you want to get a message to me, use the Facebook Live method. And if you don't want me saying your name, watch the program on what is it? thepoint.gu. I cannot see you there. I can only see people that are tuned in on Facebook Live. Lawrence J. Alcairo is there, and Joe Cepeda. Huffa, Joey, Coach, how you doing? Kev Canetta says, now that's a peachy shirt. Well, it's a peachy shirt, but it's got pineapple in it. Oh, the irony. You were going to say, were you going to chime in on something? The games now, I've got a bunch of games that have concluded. 6:26. We'll get into the items in the table of contents here in just a sec. Oh, I asked everybody how they did all what did you do all weekend? I know you did laundry.
Yeah, I did. Boy, I did. I cleaned my house, did my laundry, felt real good about that, paid some bills. Yeah. Really kind of stayed transfixed to both my phone and on YouTube. You could watch the World Series in some spots, but Fox kept cutting the feed. So that was kind of interesting, but I did get to see some of it.
But you posted on Facebook that it was in Spanish or something.
That was yesterday. Yeah, I had to find it on Spanish yesterday because I couldn't get the English feed. So.
The score is the score is the score, and frankly, sometimes it's better to watch baseball with the sound turned down anyway.
Well, Dan, it's but it's better in Spanish because when Bregman hits the grand slam, you hear the guy go go.
Yep. Yep. So
is
over
that
the weekend,
Spanish?
Well, it is when you're doing sports.
6:27. You drink enough Coronas, everything is in Spanish.
That's right.
It's 6:27 in the morning, and shouts to the team at Habitat for Humanity. Another wildly successful, almost a record breaker. The number of tables. We had 68 tables, 6 people apiece, and made a whole lot of money for Habitat for Humanity. I, as usual, had a fantastic time being the master of ceremonies, or actually the quiz master in a game show. That's what we refer to it. And congratulations to Red and Turbio and the team from Calypso, the advertising agency. They won. They came away, and they were pretty commanding lead for most of the game. As we concluded each segment, we take a look and see who was in the lead, and for almost all of the night, it was Calypso and his team. And there was some tough trivia going on, and even some word math problems. You remember the ones? Yeah.
The ones I did so poorly on?
That's not trivia.
I remember.
That's school, bro.
Yeah, Art's going 12 kilometers an hour, and Mike is going 17 kilometers an hour, and they're this many kilometers apart. How long will it be before they collide? And you've got to be able to do that with the pressure of everybody else in the room trying to come up with the same answers. Anyways, a fun time had by all, and congratulations.
My answer would have been when they stopped for beer.
And then Saturday, we had the Guahan Sustainable. We had the deal over at Hamamoto, the wine tasting.
Okay,
It was so good. Right. Really good wines that they had represented out there. But the real star of the show, besides me being the MC, the real star of the show was this Hamamoto Gardens place. Have you ever been there?
Yes, I have.
It's nice.
Beautiful.
It's a nice place. And it's from where they are in that spot, up on Cross Island Road. From where they are, it's one of those places where you can see both sides of the island. So at 5:55. And the sun starts going down, and everybody gets out from under the cover and went to try to find some place to get a selfie with the sunset. And the way they've got this Hamamoto Gardens place lit up, there's all kinds of places where you can go and take a picture and grab a selfie with the sunset. Absolutely nice and successful fundraiser for Guahan Sustainable Culture, and they're looking forward to doing something again out there in that place. You just start walking around going, I could use this. We could have this for like a company party, or maybe your fundraiser when you run for senator again.
Thanks, Ray.
Hey, no problem. No, I'm just. People are saying it anyway. People are like, "Oh yeah, so Kevin's gone and Mana's doing the show now, right? Is that some kind of precursor? Get a little bit of name recognition out there so she can run for political office again?"
Well,
the answer is, well, we're not saying anything right now. We're just going to keep that to ourselves, one way or the other.
Hamamoto is very nice.
It is a gorgeous, gorgeous place, and congratulations again to everybody. I hope everybody had it. And yesterday, it's I got because Mike said we were doing grill marks, right? So yesterday it was grill marks. I started over at Gun Beach, and then Renee Logie, who's going to come in a little bit later on and start talking about sports, says, well, everybody is hanging out over at oh gosh, what's the name of the beach there? Not at the Outrigger. We were I can't remember what's the name of the hotel.
Fiesta.
No, where the Japanese noodle restaurant is. It'll come back to me in a second. I'm just having a hard time. And she says everybody's there. Just go out and then
Isn't
turn
there a
right.
Japanese noodle restaurant at every hotel?
And practically, it's over by the Fuck Eye Shop is over there, and then we got
yeah.
You know the beach I'm talking
Fujita.
about. Fujita Beach. Thank you very much. Everybody in the world is yelling at the radio and the TV goes, Fujita Beach, you idiot. So she said, okay, we'll just turn left, get to the beach, and then turn right, and everybody's underneath the blue tent. And so I got there, and I turned right, and you know what? There's everybody on Guam's owns blue pop-up tents. I think they all went to Kmart at the same time.
Did you stop at all of them?
I was like, like I'm running for office. Hey, how you doing there? Hey, you guys know Renee? No, okay, wrong tent. Yeah, she got a dog. His name Butterbutt. Anyway, so it was a good time, and it was one of those Sundays. I'm watching the sun go down, and I'm thinking, crap, we got to find a way to make Sundays last longer. Because I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to leave the beach, and you get that feeling like that's it, buddy. That's the end of the weekend, and I hope you had a chance to experience that kind of a once in a lifetime thing. And it started looking early, like it was going to be a nice sunset, and it certainly was. Maybe I'll post a picture or two of those here this morning. It's 6:32 in the morning. It is Monday, and we'll get around to doing the table of contents to find out what kind of things are going to be on the table of contents. Well, let's break away with headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Montesilva Tyrant.
Touting his accomplishments in the last 10 months as unprecedented, Congressman Mike San Nicolas says he is not going to take leave while the House Ethics Committee investigates allegations filed against him. San Nicolas alleged to have violated House rules by having an alleged relationship with a staffer. He's also alleged to have misused campaign funds. San Nicolas says the allegations are nothing but distractions to derail him from doing his job. The Chamorro Land Trust Commission held the first in a series of meetings with residents. It was sparsely attended the first go-around, but they were able to discuss some hot topics to include access to CLTC properties, the lack of funds to pay for government surveys of lands. The CLTC is also working with the Guam Housing Corporation to access more lending opportunities with local banks for land trust lessees. The Guam legislature will address a bill next week that seeks to ease up some of the restrictions placed on the Department of Education, in particular, its ability to seek solar power. Bill 196, for one, will remove GSA from the procurement process. DOE's been looking to go solar, and they expect to save about $4 to $5 million if they are able to do so. And those are your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. For more on these stories, pick up a copy of the paper or log on to their website at postguam.com.
Yeah, that's funny. Somebody, James Howard, saying Kevin is watching the YouTube with Blake this morning. Just can't get enough. 633-888-8255, 888-TALK is my telephone number. Let's call that iConnect time at 6:33. If you are looking for a job, they might be looking for you. If you're self-motivated, energetic, and outgoing, iConnect is looking for the right people to be part of their corporate sales team. In fact, they've gone and changed out the bullpen for corporate sales. They've gone in and pulled out the old cubicles, stuck in some desks, got some nice, fancy phones that they're sticking into place, make it all comfortable for you. So if you've got sales experience, excellent communication skills, and you can work as part of a team, you're encouraged to apply. Send your resume to HR@iConnectGuam.com or visit iConnectGuam.com for information. iConnect, an equal opportunity employer.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Calaguan Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mezcla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mezcla, a true taste of Guam.
There is nothing traffic going on here. I see all the way north and southbound from Gigo all the way into the downtown Dedido area, all the way into Upper Tumon. It's all going to be green lights for you. Don't see too much other than intersection traffic. Might see a little bit of intersection traffic over at 1 and 3. 8, 10, 16 running clear this morning. 10 and 15 looking good. 4 and 10 all the way into the downtown Hagutnia area. But you're going, Ray, it's 6:35. I don't actually need to be downtown right now. So maybe a little bit later on, we'll check on the traffic gods and see what's going on. The traffic over by Big Navy is about as you might expect. A little bit of a delay getting into it, but it shouldn't take you too long. Nothing at Polaris Point. Navy Hospital, Guam High, running clear this morning. It's 6:35. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
Want to grow your business? Start a new venture? Or stay ahead of the competition? You can. With Docomo Pacific Smart Business Solutions tailored to your specific needs and ambitions, you can do it all. Partner with a network with best-in-class network coverage, state-of-the-art communication platforms, and a team dedicated to providing you with premium support. Call 688-2677 to start your journey to success today. Docomo Pacific Business, delivering your future today.
The Ray Gibson Show, bringing you closer to the action. This is The Point, Guam's FM News Talk Superstation.
All right, 6:36 and change. It is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3. The Point. I have in my hand here $20 worth of coupons that you can use at the Japan Autumn Festival, and it's somewhere between now and when Mike reminds me at 10 minutes to 10, I'll try to execute a contest. Might be something easy, like the answer is always C. That could make you a winner of a couple of these booklets. Aki Matsuri happening on Saturday, November the 16th, over at Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park. That's a.k.a. EPOW Beach Park. And you can go with folding money, but you can't actually use folding money to take advantage of the purchases. You know, a couple of tokens for beer, a couple of tokens for great Japanese food that they're going to have their sushi and sushi bake and sashimi. And there's every once in a while they'll
and you
bring
have
a guy.
to go early because sometimes they do run out.
Oh yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And you'll know which one of the vendors is everybody's favorite because it will have the
Super
longest,
long line.
super long lines. So, she says, yeah, get there early, 2 o'clock until 9 o'clock. And I was, Mike is thinking about going. He says, dude, I might need a ride. I said, dude, I think they're going to have rides from about where you are. To the place. I think you're going to be in pretty good shape, which means that you can use all those coupons I gave you to buy Asahi beers. Yes, it'll be fun. If you've never been to one of them, it is a spectacle. It's loud and it's noisy, and there's bun dancing, and there's all kinds of really good food and really, really cool people that show out for this massive cultural event. Aki Matsuri, November the 16th. We'll give you a shot at winning a little bit later on. 888-8255 is the telephone number. And you might be wondering, what items are on the table of contents that I've got in my head. And there's just so much. There's just so many stories out there. And they're all important. They're all kind of big. Naturally, because of the kind of cassette nature of this program, the thing at the top of my head is what is going on with the swimming pools that we've got here. They had just opened up the Agana swimming pool, and then somebody has an AFR. Which is an accidental fecal release. What's the rule for the movie? Never trust a fart. An accidental fecal release in the pool. And you might recall on Friday we were talking about this, and Clayton Duvall called in. He was just very hyper about the situation, saying, you have to drain. It looked like it was a reach. It looked like it was, when you watch Caddyshack, and they've got this whole scene in Caddyshack with somebody throwing a Baby Ruth bar into the pool and everybody freaking out, and it looked at the time like it was an overreaction to drain and sanitize the pool, but that's actually what you're supposed to do in a situation when you've got an accidental fecal release, is drain and sanitize the pool. I don't know how many gallons of water there are in the Agana swimming pool, but that's going to I'm
going to guess 30,000 gallons?
Oh, it's got to be
30, 40?
I couldn't even ballpark whether you're in the park or not. But how much is it going to cost the Department of Parks and Recreation at the rates that GWA charges them to empty the pool, sanitize, and then refill it with brand new water? That's it. You know, when we
Have
were
they
doing that.
fully paid off the arrears from the previous administration?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Actually, that would be for me the interesting question is what is that going to cost them to refill that pool with brand new GWA water? Now they're going to have to do the same thing up in Datado. They sent the word out over the weekend. Parks and Rec, the Datado pool will be closed due to an AFR for the safety of pool patrons. They're closed for proper disinfection and sanitation. They anticipate resuming regular pool hours tomorrow. And the Gagnon is still closed until they get that thing all squared away. Poor Richard Ibanez. I mean, that was the other thing. I looked at this when it came in on the email over the weekend, and that's all I could think of was poor Richard Ibanez. You know, he's got 50 million other things they've got to be doing over at Parks and Rec, and this guy's got to deal with these AFR situations over in the swimming pool.
But I wonder how accidental it really is.
So that's an interesting point. That is
maybe the first one.
That is, it's like, you remember that sense that we had like 9/11. I had to make the comparison or use that as the analog here. But you remember when the first plane hit the tower, and we said, "Oh my God, what a terrible accident! A plane struck one of the towers in New York City." And then the second one hit the other tower, and then you're like, "Okay, wait a second. This is starting to look like a pattern is evolving. It looks like this might have been done on purpose." So that's the thinking that you've got in your head a little bit this morning. That it is not just Yeah, there's our conspiracy theory music playing off in the background. It's possible that this is some kind of a sinister plan to keep kids out of the swimming pools. Yeah, we got guys that are trying to get trained up for the 2020 Olympics. They're literally right around the corner, and we need as many pool facilities as possible.
But I don't know if they can do their training at Datado. I don't know if it's got the proper facility for...
I don't know. I can't remember whether
training.
it's not long enough or it's not deep enough or something. I recall everybody being kind of breathless when they put that thing together. Speaking of things that will take your breath away, 6:42 in the morning, and we all need to be concerned about this. God, this is one of those days where everywhere I look, I've got a story possibility and something I can riff on. I was going to give you some of the early morning sports scores. What's going on with the National Football League for the Pick'ems? I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm at 8, and I think you're at 8 as well. And it looks like I've got really good feelings about the picks that I've got for the rest of the day and tomorrow. So it's possible I'll be in double digits again, and that will make me happy. But the other thing that as I'm reaching for that, is this that you printed out for me. The legislative calendar is out, and a couple of things that are going to be taking place today. Well, never mind. The one thing that they're going to be doing over at the legislature is they're going to be in session over at the legislature, and that means there's more taxpayer dollars. They're going to try to figure out how they can spend more taxpayer dollars out there. And I'd love to be able to say that I know exactly what they're going to be talking about.
Well, I have the agenda here. I'll send it to you. There's a...
Is it translated, or did they just give you?
It's translated.
Okay, so you've got the bill number and the description.
And the title.
Okay, so is there anything in there that's interesting? And when I say interesting,
13 bill.
Does Jimmy Moylan have anything in there? Because they've just been rocking and socking. Jimmy has introduced more pieces of legislation than anybody else, I think, in the legislature, and they never hear his bills.
No,
nothing, right?
In fact, there is nothing by any Republican senator here.
See, you just it's starting to feel like a real partisan shop over there. Do they have it? And is it's all girls, right? So, do any of the guys have any legislation that's going to be heard?
Has one.
That's because everybody likes Clint.
Joseph Augustine has 2, and Clint has 1. The rest are from the women.
But no Republicans.
But no Republican bills.
Does Mary Torres have anything in there?
No.
No.
Well, are you talking about co-sponsoring,
No,
or are you just talking about introduction?
Yeah, the like actual key sponsor guys.
No.
All right. So there we go again. We're getting shut out over at the legislature, and I say that for my Republicans friends. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what some of the other groovy agenda items are before too much longer. Mana's going to digest that and come up with it. A couple of interesting magistrate reports here, and the one with the guy, the Korean fella that left the kid in the car over at Kmart. Everybody making frowny faces about that this morning, and I gotta say. This is almost one of those what would you do situations. I went out running with the girls on Saturday morning. And after, because, running and you work up appetite, they said, we're going to Jollibee And I said, I've never been to Jollibee before. And it was a bunch of pretty Panay girls that I was running with on Saturday morning. And I said, who better to introduce me to the goodness that is Jollibee?
You've never even been in the Philippines?
I've never been. One in the Philippines. I went to one in a mall in the Philippines, and you know how it is in the Philippines. If you're driving and you pass by a Jollibee, you don't have to stop and turn around because there's another one at 20 feet. There's all kinds of Jollibees that you can go. But I'd never been to the one here, is the thing, and I certainly had never had breakfast at a Jollibee, and so I wanted to know what that was going to be like. So I get in there. Place opens up at 7 o'clock, and I'm standing in line. Guy comes in, stands behind me in line, says, "Good morning, sir." And I, was polite and said, "Good morning, sir," back to him. And so somebody ran out of water. And so I said, "I got water in the car, so I'll just go out and get it." When I was walking back, I noticed that there was a car parked. It was running. And there was a little kid in the back seat crying. And then there was another little kid in a car seat. And I thought, well, that's it, because there were no adults in the car. And I thought, well, that's interesting to get these kids in the car. But I did not have, I think, the presence of mind to determine whether or not a crime was being committed. How illegal is it when you've got a kid or a couple of kids in the car? It was running, the air conditioner was on, and how illegal is that?
Well,
should I have broken the window?
If you take a look at the post, Paul Tapau's in there, and he's talking about some of the guidelines. And apparently, if you cannot leave your child unattended, and if you do leave your child unattended, it has to be.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. One of these kind of counteracts the other one. A parent, legal guardian, or other person at least 12 years of age responsible for a child 5 years of age or younger may not leave such a child unattended or unsupervised in a motor vehicle for a period in excess of 15 minutes. Well, this guy was in and out of Jollibee inside of the 15 minutes. But for any period of time, if the motor of the vehicle is running, or the health of the child is in danger. So it kind of, because obviously, you get the little kid in the back that was crying could have easily slipped into the front and started playing around with the radio and the steering wheel and maybe accidentally get the car in gear. So I guess the deal is, if you are going to leave your kids in the car, turn off the engine and get back inside of 15 minutes, which sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You should just never leave the kids in the car.
That's what I assumed it was. But, when we were growing up, it wasn't such a big deal.
My mom would have been arrested every day. Mom would have been arrested every day.
I don't want to go in.
This was, there's a very, very common practice. We got to go to Diana's. I don't want to go to Diana's. She'd park the car outside of Diana's and leave Shelly and I in the car, and running, not running. It didn't bother leaving the car running, because in the first car that I remember being able to ride in, there was no air conditioning in the Rambler. So, you sit there with the windows rolled down. This is back in the 60s and 70s, kids.
I was about to say, see, when our parents left us in cars, it was with the windows rolled down, and they weren't scared to death that we were going to get kidnapped. These parents, they go
2020, you generally don't.
And we didn't have to wear seatbelts or use car seats.
But keep in mind, this is the rationale behind why these parents are locking these children inside of closed-up, locked cars. It's because they're scared they're going to get kidnapped. Well, okay, don't leave your kid somewhere then, if you just make sure your kid's with you all the time.
Have ugly kids that people would not kidnap. They'd look at it and say, okay, that kid, that is an ugly child, and I don't want to have anything to do with that one.
But there are serious articles about people being distracted, and in this day and age, there's so many distractions that keep people busy, that they actually forget their children.
The kids in the car.
So cars are now being manufactured so that they have sounds and alarms that remind you that you got your kid in the back seat.
There's the Nissan Versa, I think is it Versa? Yeah, I think so. I just took a look at it a couple of weeks ago.
Well, this guy had a Versa.
Did he?
Yes.
So is that what it was?
I think so. Yeah.
But if he left it running, it might not have. It might not have gone off. So the deal is, if you open one of the rear doors and close it, the car remembers that you opened the rear doors and closed it. So when you walk away from the car, the horn will sound that says, "Hey, you might have forgotten something in the back. Maybe your briefcase, or dirty clothes, or a child." But what was it they were saying? There's this internet meme where they're saying, "Leave something important. If you got a kid in the car, leave something important in the back seat to remind you to get the kid." And the meme has this little picture of a little girl making a funny face, going, something important? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not important?
Well, you know, the funny thing is it's true. They say leave your cell phone in the back seat because people are more inclined to remember their cell phone
Than their children, than their actual
and
born
it's a crazy,
kids.
crazy thing.
Isn't it?
Highly distracted.
888-255-888-TALK is the telephone number you want to get involved in this conversation. Let me just take a quick pass at Facebook Live and see who's joined the program. Gina Kono is there. Rose Greeno. Good morning. Jules Elmer. There's Darlene Bloss. Catherine Cruz Norton is here. She said, good morning, everybody. She's only here to see you. Tony Annette and Pinko Anna is online. Ike Aseki. Pat and Norma Jean Flores online hanging out. Kenny Williams. Kenny and his team made a big splash over at Habitat for Humanity's quiz night. Nice to see you and Mrs. there. Cousin Tommy Barcinas. Auntie Cheryl Mesa is there. Joey St. Nicholas. Jeanette Suzuki. Hafazuk. Nice to see you there. Peter Santos talking about the situation that Parks and Rec finds themselves in. He says, yeah, crappy situation for sure. Hold on, let me get the laughing emoji like. I got Nate Horn saying Leo Palace trying to get the swimmers to come up and pay for the use of their facilities. There's your conspiracy. I got my pal Frank Whitman, Rick Leone, Phil Leon Guerrero is online. Hey, Phil, do me a favor. Shoot me a copy of the agenda and what you think are some of the highlights coming out of the Rules Committee that we can focus on as the legislature goes into session. Smugs online. Bernadette Santos is hanging out. Al Bautista says it's a normal thing here in Korea for kids to be left in cars while the parents illegally park on the road and go into the stores. I had another one of those situations. I hate to profile. I hate to be that guy, but I think there needs to be some other instructions for Korean drivers when they come here. I know that the vast majority of them are really good, and then you get the others. So I was behind one of these rent-a-cars over the weekend and pulling into behind John F. Kennedy. We were headed into the Tumon area, and guy couldn't sort out what the meaning of the green light was. So I had to urgently press the horn on the car to get the guy moving, and it was he'd gotten. He was in front of me, and then I passed him over in front of the Fiesta and got in front of him, and I'm kind of watching this guy.
Road raging?
No, I wasn't road raging, but if I was, there would be a story. There'd be a magistrate report on it. So I'm watching this guy, and he starts slowing down by, and then he stopped. He just stopped in the middle of the road. Didn't stop at an intersection. Didn't stop, didn't pull over. He just stopped the car. And I'm looking at this thing in the rearview mirror going, what the heck is this guy doing? And it's not the first time I've seen something like that where they just kind of like, I got to get my bearings. I got to take a look at my phone. I got to do something. And they'll just stop the car in the middle of the road. And I'm going, do they do that in Korea? Al Bautista? Is that a common practice where they'll just stop the car? I don't know. Rico's online. Sabine Chargalov's there. Classmates Ron and Cindy De La Rosa. Good to see you guys there as well. The Frank Whitman says the Dededo pool is perfectly good for training when it's open. I appreciate the heads up on that. I got 6:53 in the morning, and we got a couple of things to commemorate. Well, we've got our pool issues here on Guam. The guys over in Saipan are celebrating, number one, the fact that they don't have anybody pooping in their swimming pools, and number two, it is now a year gone since Super Typhoon U2 passed by Saipan and the CNMI with devastating results. To reflect on that year, I got my buddy Brad Rizal on the line. Hey, Brad, how you doing?
All right, Ray. Good morning. How you doing?
You know what? Not so bad. Not a little bit of wind noise in the background. I guess that's all right. I can make out what you're saying. So, what's the consensus? What's the general conventional thinking up in Saipan now that a year has passed since U2? Are you out of it? Are there still some blemishes left over from the storm that you guys need working on?
Well, you can still see there's about 1,500 people, 1,500 families living in those tents that were distributed from that storm. We're still rebuilding from all of everything. Our power and water is back up, and all that stuff is great. But, we're a little, I don't know if we're numb or if we're a little punchy. The last couple of storms, we were all ready for them. Thank God they went north of us. Yeah. But we're all kind of, we're ready to go, and also, dreading it a bit, but knowing that, all right, well, if it gets us, we're going to be out of whack for about 3 or 4 months, and then, we'll have to just work together to get through it.
Yeah, well, obviously, we're very delighted that you guys took a pass on the last couple of storm warnings that we had. So that was nice. It's still kind of disturbing to hear that there's so many families that are sheltered with tents and things like that. I couldn't imagine having to do that any longer in about a weekend.
Well, and that's part of our storm prep now. What we end up going into those condition 2 earlier, so that we can open up the shelters at the schools, and then we send out the teams to go and disassemble those tents. And it's a big piece of it. People need a place to go, and we can't take those tents down until people have a place to go to shelter for the storm. So it's just part of our adventure,
Yeah. But the other thing, you're coming out of something when the planes start coming back loaded with tourists, but that seems to be taking a long time to get your hospitality industry back into what we think is stable.
Well, you got to think about it though. Before Typhoon U2, that's when the Marianas Resort closed, and we also completely lost Coral Ocean Point. That hotel is not in existence anymore. There's only a couple of the buildings from that hotel are still there.
Wow.
So that hurts, and that's a big. That was a big draw. That's one of our golf courses too. Same with Marianas Resort. So that's 2 of our golf courses just aren't in operation anymore. So little by little, we're putting it back together. But that's what we got. One of the other things too, to give you an idea, we still have some of those overtime pay issues from the last storm. So a lot of folks were even unable to confirm that they'd be able to get their employees to go out and work in the part of that storm prep because they didn't get paid for the overtime from the last storm. Yeah. So we've got a lot of things that we need to keep working on from this. Bouncing back financially is not an easy thing. I mean, there was a disaster, and there was a disaster after the disaster. The economic super typhoon.
Well, yeah, and about the only break that I think you guys got was your government embargoing any changes to the price of liquid fuels. So your gas prices today are the same as they were the day after U2.
Absolutely, and I am not complaining.
Well, at some point they're going to have to true up after a year's worth of selling gasoline at the forced low price. At some point, the gas companies are going to say, "All right, we got to make up for that loss," and go back and increase the price for a gallon of gasoline to make up for that loss.
I really support local businesses, that's for sure. But I'll tell you, with regards to the price of fuel, you guys have something in Guam that we don't. You have different prices at your gas station.
No, we do not. No, we don't.
Every single gas station in Guam is the same price?
They're all the same price. When, as an example, if Mobil puts their price at $4.19.9, before you know it, Shell and 76 Circle K will do $4.19.9, and it just goes like that. And they go in lockstep with each other. It's kind of baffling, but it's something that we've gotten used to. It's been I don't remember a time where there was where you could go shopping for gas prices. I want to say I haven't seen anything like that since the early 1980s, since there was that kind of competition around here.
See, that's part of our local culture that we share.
There we go. It's one of those things that we just all kind of get used to. Hey, I was very, very concerned. You'll recall among my big concerns after U2 was how the kids were going to deal with the holidays now that were just absolutely wrecked as a result of that storm. But it seems to me that the kids came out of that all right. How do you think the kids are feeling with regard to the upcoming holidays, Christmas and New Year's, Thanksgiving?
Kids, they don't have as much to bounce, to lean back on as far as like history and all that. So for them, that's just how they grew up. I'll tell you real quick. Great friend of mine, his kids had it the worst. They were strapped between 2 mattresses, being held together by electrical cords as the typhoon ripped apart their home.
Wow.
These kids are doing great. So they're super close with us. This is my kumpire and his family. And you wouldn't even know it. In fact, we were all putting boards up on their new house for the storm, and all the kids were out there playing. They weren't afraid or whatever. These kids are tough. So the last people I'm worried about.
I got you. Well, Brad, it's always fun. Always nice talking with you. I'll see you when you get down here to Guam, and you can buy some gas for $4.20 a gallon. How's that?
You got it.
Later, bud. 7 o'clock in the morning. The radio station is KUSG, Haggadah 93.3. This is The Point. The Ray Gibson Show continues on the other side of Fox News Live. We got Montesilva Tyron and news from the Guam Daily Post. We'll take a look at the market. Jerry Roberts going to be here. But right now, just a note, you are listening to The Point.
A military raid takes out the leader of ISIS. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News. It's being called a mission more dangerous than the bin Laden raid. The U.S. military launching a daring operation in northern Syria targeting the leader of ISIS. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson with the details.
The president said it took over an hour for the American strike force to reach its target. Up to 70 U.S. Special Operations Forces spent 2 hours on the ground to kill ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and collect what the president called highly sensitive information on ISIS. A large number of ISIS fighters were killed. Some were captured alive. President Trump called Baghdadi a coward for detonating a suicide vest with 3 children next to him.
No U.S. Special Operations Forces were killed or injured during the raid. Reaction coming in from around the world.
We have gotten a statement from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who congratulated President Trump, calling all of this an impressive achievement. Also, French President Emmanuel Macron said Sunday that this raid was a blow against Daesh, also adding that it's only a step in the larger fight against the Islamic State. Also getting some reaction from the Iranians, one of their information ministers, calling it not a big deal, saying the United States just killed one of their creatures.
Fox's Trey Yingst. The successful mission drawing rare bipartisan praise. Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California says,
good riddance. This was a bloodthirsty killer. To the degree that he retained operational control of ISIS, it's an operational success. It's a symbolic victory.
Schiff on ABC's This Week. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi taking issue with the president for not notifying congressional leaders before that raid. She notes that Russia was informed that it was in the works. And sad word that former Michigan Congressman John Conyers is dead at the age of 90. He represented the Detroit area for 5 decades. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, do you know what time the bank closes? I need to deposit my check.
You know you can do that from your phone.
I can?
With Bank of Guam's mobile app, it's easy. Just endorse the back and snap a pic to deposit it into your account. You can do this from anywhere, anytime, which means no rushing to catch the bank and no lines.
With Bank of Guam's mobile app and online banking, we're always open. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Want to grow your business? Start a new venture? Or stay ahead of the competition? You can. With Docomo Pacific Smart Business Solutions tailored to your specific needs and ambitions, you can do it all. Partner with a network with best-in-class network coverage, state-of-the-art communication platforms, and a team dedicated to providing you with premium support. Call 688-2677 to start your journey to success today. Docomo Pacific Business, delivering your future today.
A manhunt after a fatal shooting in Texas.
Over 700 revelers, many dressed for Halloween, were at an off-campus homecoming party of Texas A&M University Commerce in Greenville around midnight Sunday. That's when chaos erupted. A gunman shot and killed 2 of them. 14 others were injured as the shooter made his escape. Authorities are asking the parents of those students who were there for help in finding him.
I really begged them to get their children to give us information about this shooter. We need to get him off the street as soon as possible.
Hunt County Sheriff Randy Meeks, police believe the suspect may have had just one target in mind. Karen McHugh, Fox News.
Officials say the party was held about 15 miles from campus and was not sanctioned by the school. Proof that true love can overcome some passionate differences.
Tandy Rowland is a yoga instructor. She's also vegan. Her husband, Mitchell Rowland, is a fishing guide and a proud hunter. Despite their differences, the Washington State couple has been married since 2015. Tandy admits the relationship was rocky at first, and she did try to force her diet on her husband, but she eventually learned to compassionately accept his choices. The couple is raising their son vegan, and Tandy says once he's old enough, he can decide if he wants to eat meat himself. Marcus White, Fox News.
We have some good news about the filling up of the tank of your car.
Gasoline prices are now on the decline. The average price of regular grade nationally dropped 4 cents per gallon at retail in the past 2 weeks, and the new price is $2.68. It is 24 cents lower than it was 1 year ago, and it may drop a little further before it's through.
Gas analyst Trilby Lundberg says retail prices have been falling steadily for several weeks, and wholesale prices are falling even faster. She predicts prices at the pump could dip below $2 a gallon. I'm Kathleen Maloney, and this is Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the all-new Pit Smoked Brisket. How would you like it?
I'll take a man who knows what's what.
Y'all know what? The all-new Pit Smoked Brisket at Subway is smoked slower than a slug going up a down escalator, that's what. I'm talking tender, juicy brisket, naturally pit smoked for at least 13 hours. What's more, it's got layer after layer of smoky flavor. Smoked cheddar and barbecue sauce on delicious Italian bread. Subway, make it what y'all want, what not. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Konnichiwa! We'll be celebrating the 40th Japan Autumn Festival on Saturday, November 16th from 2 until 9 at the Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park. That's Ipao Beach Park. Parking will be available across Oka Payless with free shuttle service every 15 minutes starting at 1:30. Advance tickets available now at the Japan Club of Guam office located on the first floor of Pia Marine during business hours. The Japan Autumn Festival at Ipao Beach Park, November 16th from 2 to 9. Come join us. For information, call 646-8066. This message made possible by Choice Broadcasting.
7 o'clock news from the Guam Daily Post is being brought to you by Proline Automotive, customizing Guam's finest rides, located in the Harmon Industrial Park.
Hafide and good morning, Guam. It's 7:06, and here are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The House Ethics Committee last week announced it would be investigating allegations against Guam Delegate Mike Nicholas, but he says it's a distraction and just an effort to derail him from doing his job. The allegations are into a sexual relationship that he had with a member of his congressional staff, which is a violation of House rules. Nicholas is also under investigation by the committee for allegedly converting campaign funds to personal use and accepting improper or excessive campaign contributions. The Washington, D.C.-based media organization Roll Call also reported on Friday that while delegates were granted the ability to vote on bills related to the Committee of the Whole, Nicholas voted just 47% of the time. The report stated he missed 138 of the 259 votes so far. Nicholas says he's had to weigh what legislation to focus on based on what's important for Guam. He added he had to weigh trade-offs between staying in Washington and the need to also touch base and visit constituents on Guam. He did say that while the investigation takes place, he will not be taking leave. The Guam legislature will address a bill this week that seeks to ease up some of the restrictions placed on the Department of Education, in particular its ability to seek solar power. Bill 196 will, for one, remove the General Services Agency from the procurement process. DOE had been looking to go solar, and for the authority to do so, they want to do their own procurement. If all goes in their favor, DOE could see a savings of up to $4 to $5 million a year in utilities. They currently pay $12 million a year for power. A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held on Friday for the first phase of a new Ironwood low-income housing development with 53 and 4-bedroom units in Mongmongtotomaiti. The development is called Villa Del Mar. The ceremony also served as a groundbreaking event for the second phase of this project, which will add 88 1-, 2-, and 3-bedroom units. The project was completed using the federal low-income housing tax credit program, which was awarded by the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. Ironwood Guam Development Vice President Carlos Camacho says that the company's already completed 700 units using this program. A community center within the development is one of the developer's highlights. Some of the units go for rental rates of less than $800 a month if tenants can qualify under certain low-income criteria. We'll have more news after this.
Proline Automotive has everything to customize your whip. From custom wheels to Nankang tires or just hubcaps, they have it. Feel better that it's protected with a dash cover, car cover, seat covers, or floor mats. Visit Proline Automotive, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
We can't buy this house.
What?
It has 4 bathrooms. Just think of all the bathtub rings, water spots, and stains, plus the cleaning products I'll have to buy.
Didn't I tell you? The house comes with a non-electric Connecticut water treatment system. We'll have clean, soft water throughout the house, protect the water-using appliances, keep the tub, showers, and sinks looking like new, and help our skin, hair, and clothes look and feel great, too. The house even includes a Connecticut drinking water system.
A Connecticut system in the house? We'll take it.
American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water.
The Chamorro Land Trust Commission held the first in a series of meetings with residents. It was sparsely attended, with just about a couple dozen people attending. They were able to discuss some hot topics to include access to CLTC properties, the lack of funds to pay for government surveys of lands, and CLTC also now working with the Guam Housing Corporation to access more lending opportunities with local banks for land trust lessees. A customer at Lucky Land Game Room in Dededo was arrested and now faces charges in connection with that robbery at the establishment about 3 weeks ago. 25-year-old Timothy Gay was charged with robbery, theft, and assault. He allegedly demanded money from the female cashier and struck her several times before grabbing several $100s from the till. Police were able to identify the suspect from the surveillance video. According to the magistrate's complaint, Gay admitted to the robbery and stated to authorities that he needed money to care for his family. And a man was charged this weekend after allegedly leaving his child in a parked car at Kmart. Sanghyong Park was charged with misdemeanor charges after he allegedly left his 4-year-old sleeping in the car. The incident occurred late Friday when another customer spotted the child sleeping in the vehicle about 10:40. The child's father eventually came out of the store around 11 p.m. and told police the car was parked and he was waiting for his wife's flight to arrive at 2 a.m. the next day. And those are your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now is your weather with Wright.
It says partly cloudy skies today, Mana, with isolated showers. Winds from the east 10 to 15 miles an hour, decreasing 5 to 15 miles an hour. Tonight, highs around 89 degrees, and overnight lows are about 78 degrees. We'll get to sunset at 5:55. Again, sunset hunters 5:55. Get in position and tell the others. Sunrise this morning was at 6:13, so it's coming up later and later, and that's just the way it is as we move into this new time on the calendar. It's also bringing changes to our regular weather patterns. Things definitely cooling down out there with a look at what's going on with the radar and then the satellite. Here's Duke Skytalker in the Points Weather Center. Good morning.
Good morning. Checking out the radar here, we can see we're in the exchange of the diurnal cycles, nighttime into daytime. So some of the nighttime showers petering out just a bit, but where the sun is shining out farther to the east, they are firing back up again. Looking at some of these isolated showers that'll cruise on throughout the day today, but I think we'll see a gradual uptick in moisture, probably starting this afternoon and this evening, and then going on into tomorrow. We'll show you what's going on there with the satellite. While you switch over to satellite, I'm looking at another thing over here on my right. It's called the Mimic TPW. TPW measures the total precipitable water, this is quite frankly the water that is available for precipitation or rainfall. And do show a pretty good plume of moisture that's going to be moving through us here with this easterly trade wind disturbance starting tomorrow. We can see that on the satellite here, all of that blobage out to the east. Can we scooch it over just a little bit? And we'll
stand by for scooching.
Yeah, we'll scooch it over to the right. There we go. Yeah, see, that's quite a healthy and robust trade wind disturbance that is being pushed along with those nice easterly breezes, slowly making its way here. Again, it'll really start to kick up tonight and then through most of the day tomorrow, maybe even lingering on into Wednesday just a bit. But no major weather systems, no typhoons, no storms, nothing like that. And the models are starting to hint that the first continental surge will start approaching our area, getting close. Up in the northern islands first week of next month. So if that spells out right, that means we could get our first little surge of air, say, around the end of November. We'll see how that works.
I got you. All right. Well, 7:13, 7:14, that's a look at what's going on in the world of weather here on The Point.
Did you know that home loan rates have plunged again? Would you like to take advantage of these lower rates to help lower your monthly payments? Refinancing doesn't have to be for another 30 years. It can be for 10, 15, or 20 years. It's up to you. Reduce your monthly payments. Pay off your loan earlier. At Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches.
Equal housing lender. Credit conditions apply.
Portions of the program here brought to you by my pals over at American President Lines, APL. It's a global presence and a local home. And American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water. Portions of the program also brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City. GRMC is your first stop in all of your specialty care needs.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-8255.
How's business? And when I say how's business, I mean how's the movie business? Have you gone to see anything over the weekend? You go and track a movie?
No.
So I know somebody.
I fall asleep in movies, so I just.
So the report is that there's some really disturbing things in the movie Joker. They've changed things. You remember, Jerry's old enough to remember this. Jerry Roberts old enough to remember when it was Burt Ward and Adam West.
I remember a lot of stuff. Cesar Romero.
Cesar Romero was the original Joker, and he was a happy Joker.
He was a jolly fellow.
2019, they got a Joker now, and he's broody like James Bond. Everybody's brooding in movies. And,
they've been going that way for a long time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. But it's still kind of a little off-putting for me because I'm from the comic book, Batman, Robin, 1966, 1967
So the
movies.
best Joker was who?
In my mind, probably Cesar Romero.
Well, for
that's
television.
Yeah.
Okay, but in the movies,
Cesar Romero was in the movie.
Was in the first movie?
Yeah, it was in the Batman movie that came out.
He was the Joker?
We watched, Papa and I went to go watch that at the Johnston Theater before they started playing Triple X movies at Johnston Theater.
Don't tell me about your history. What I want to know is when the Batman series, when as they progressed through that, Nicholson was the Joker at one time.
Oh, Jack Nicholson,
Yes.
that's right. Yes,
I
yes,
remember
he
that.
was good.
And
I like Jack
but
Nicholson
Jack Nicholson
anyway.
is one of the original dangerous personalities because you never know what was going to happen.
But he was kind of in the middle, kind of funny, and then kind of a little bit dark. And since then, it's been downhill.
No, so
I think Nicholson personified all of the facets of the Joker in the role of the time that he played it about as well as anyone could have, I think. Who else would they have picked to play that part that way?
I don't know.
After him,
No
that's
way,
it.
yeah.
He took the part
Everyone's
away.
trying to live up to his.
So what's the name of the guy that's the new Joker? Joaquin Phoenix, I think, is the guy's name.
Oh, okay.
And
River Phoenix's brother.
right, and so reputation for not doing sequels, but he says in this case he would be happy to do a sequel. I haven't actually seen the movie yet, but like I said, I got word that it's dark and disturbing. You should go and watch it. Okay, I'll go and see if I can eke a
I'll
little
wait
bit
till
of
I can watch it illegally online.
There's Maleficent is the other big movie, and then there's
I'm just joking.
Terminator: Dark Fate is out, and it's got what's his name James what's his name's wife, James Cameron's wife, Linda. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know James Cameron. I have no idea who his wife is.
They're bringing Sarah Connors back is the thing, and there's at least
Linda Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton, yeah. There's at least one story in one of the newspapers that says this might be, of all of the Terminator sequels there have been, and there have been a bunch of them. This one here might be the best.
Is Arnold in it?
I'm sure there's a cameo.
Why don't we just make 4 or 5 more RoboCops while we're at it?
No, police academies. We need more police.
Yes.
They stopped at the wrong number of police academies. Somewhere in here is something that might be riffable for you and your business.
Yeah, I think so.
What is your second act when you think about it? You got a customer comes in and delighted with the service. What's your second act going to be? How do you follow up on that? I
think I can do that one.
And turn them into forever customers. And people that are loyal to your business. 7:18 in the morning. You got that. There's a story. I was going to save it for later, but I got one of these magistrate reports that meth will make you stupid. We've learned this. We understand it. Meth will make you stupid. On the 24th, police pulled over a car, pickup truck. up in McSisai Street in Datado. Further observed the license plate light of the truck was out. What I like to refer to as moving probable cause. And the cops are getting pretty good at singling out cars that might also be carrying in the car. Anyway, so cops attempted to stop the truck by activating the lights and sirens. The truck pulled over and instead pulled into the driveway of a house at Quezon Street. Police officers further observed the sole occupant of the truck, Matthew Brown, exit through the passenger door side. Why aren't you getting out the regular front? During a pat-down of the defendant, GPD officers discovered and recovered a syringe from his pockets. GPD officers further observed a clear plastic baggie containing a white crystalline substance on the passenger seat. The defendant then stated, there it is. I was looking for that. Man, I messed my truck up looking for that. Cops performed a field test on the above-mentioned substance, and they came out and said, yeah, we're pretty sure this is methamphetamine. And can you imagine how appreciative the guy was? You know, it's important to appreciate. It's important to show gratitude
yeah.
for all the good things in your life. I could not find his ice that was right there on the seat. Cops had to do it for him. Cops get it, and they put him in jail on possession of a Schedule II controlled substance as a third-degree felony. Kids, meth will make you stupid. 20 after the hour, and time to take a look at some of the other things that we like to do on the mornings. We'll take a look and see where the markets ended up on Friday, and they're all up. Dow Jones Industrial Average leading the pack, 152 points in the green, 26,958. Oh, so close to 27,000. Maybe on the word of victorious and successful elimination of the guy, Big Bog, or whatever his name is, out of the ISIS guy. They bagged the leader of ISIS over the weekend, and the Trump is very excited about that. Maybe on that word, there could be some further movement in the Dow. NASDAQ at 8,243. They picked up 57 points. S&P 500 in the green by 12 points to close at 3,022. FTSE is down. The Nikkei is up 49 points, 22,799. Hang Seng backwards by 130 points, and the DAX is green at 22 points to close at 12,894. Brad Rizala talking about how excited he is up in Saipan a year after Super Typhoon U2 moves through, and their government, very similar to our government, as a result of that disaster, froze gas prices to what they were
Still
before
frozen.
the storm. They are still frozen. $3.92 or something like that for a gallon of gasoline, regardless of where West Texas is, regardless of what the nationwide prices are. And they had another one of those Trilby Lundberg stories on the Fox newscast, which is probably the most irrelevant thing to play in a newscast that's airing on Guam, talking about how low the price of gasoline is across the United States. The average is what is it, $2.52 or something like that for a gallon of gasoline across the country.
Oh, not in California.
Not in California. No. They're just talking about what the average is, and you got somebody in California with the taxes that creates a rather high average for that state. West Texas crude, if you're buying it on Friday, $56.07. Today, $56.66. So while the gas prices are going up, the raw product the prices are going down for gas. The price for the raw product is going up. $65.14 on Friday for a barrel of Tapas crude. Today, that number is $66.85. So we're watching an increase in the price of Tapas crude. Still, fairly narrow range. I don't know, what is that, $1.70, $1.60, something like that, in between where it was and where it is now. I don't know that that's going to be sufficient to cause some kind of reaction from the guys at the gas companies here. We'll see what happens. 7:22 in the morning. Jerry Roberts is in the studios. We get closer and closer to the Live to Lead seminar.
Yes, sir.
And you still got tables?
We're okay. I can get people in. The question now is on timing. So what we were in the Royal Ballroom, I think it's called, at one point.
Yeah.
So we're past that now.
Oh.
So we're into the Grand Ballroom now.
Nice.
So we have room, but we don't have time. So the problem now is we squeeze an extra day out of the good folks at Dusatani. We were originally on Thursday. Now we're on Friday.
Okay.
Friday's it. So at least at this point. So if you are thinking of getting your registration in for Live to Lead, Friday at 5 o'clock. Gotta have it.
Yeah, a couple more highlights just before we get started with the extra point. Just a couple of things maybe to seal the deal in people's heads as they're listening, going, do I want to do this? Do I want to send my guys? Yep. What's the takeaway?
Shared experience. Get there with your team and have this experience. of taking in all of these ideas and then go back and talk about it and do something about it. Because, again, 2020, right around the corner. So you want a good jump start, a time you can get together and talk about these ideas and how they relate to our business, right? Recharge your batteries and come back hard and do something that's good for your company.
Imagine what the brainstorming is going to be like Monday after Friday, and that all-day get-together with everybody.
That's what we used to do with this, so it's important.
7:24 in the morning, Jerry Roberts. If you want information on that, go to GuamTraining.com on the World Wide Web. Here today with our episode of The Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
A few days ago, we talked about the different styles of leadership, and I think we established that Ray was a laissez-faire leader, if you recall that, sir, right? Now, what if you've been locked into one style and you decide it's time for a change? What to do if you wanted to go for a style makeover? That's next on The Extra Point.
When's the last time you looked at your homeowner's insurance?
An easily overlooked part of covering our home is what's inside of it. Over time, we buy things we don't want to lose, but don't update our contents coverage. The smart thing to do is get the answers and level up our insurance to make sure we're totally protected.
That's the Insurance Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today by calling Guahan Insurance Services at 475-1162 or visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center in Tamuning.
Want 10% off your next flight to the U.S.? Now through October 31, receive 10% off select United Airlines flights to the U.S. when you purchase your ticket with your United credit card or United Mileage Plus credit card from First Hawaiian Bank. Use promo code FHB019 when booking your flight. With a travel sale like this, you could wake up to a different sunrise in any part of the U.S. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 19 to learn more. Terms and conditions and restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC.
Last week, we listed the various leadership styles. Autocratic maintain control of the situation and make the decisions. They don't consult their team. Democratic, where the team is involved in the decision-making. Laissez-faire leaders provide the tools to do a job and then step away, letting the worker handle things. Finally, servant leaders, who get to know each person on the team well, coach them up, and view them almost as a client, providing tools and guidance to maximize their achievement. Maybe you've been going along with one of these styles for a long time, and now you decide it's time for a change. How hard will it be to do that? Let's take a look. First things first, you're used to the current style, and so are the members of your team. The initial question to ask is, what's wrong with what I'm doing now? I want to know the answer to this before I make any changes. If most of the workers are comfortable with how I lead and we're hitting our objectives, then perhaps I'd be better off testing a few small tweaks to the system, not a wholesale swap out of styles. Explain the various styles to your team and ask them to identify yours. Wouldn't you be surprised if there was disagreement among workers as to how they classify you? The next question is tough, and I know because I've asked it myself. Is there anything about how I lead that bothers you or makes it difficult for you to do your job well? It's not easy to get feedback on a question like that. Let me give you some advice. If you have the courage to ask such a question, be smart and just listen to what people tell you. Don't try to defend your position. You asked for feedback and workers gave it to you. That's hard for them, especially if they aren't sure how you're going to take it. If you feel the need to explain yourself in light of their answers, do so in private meetings. Once you have the feedback, and if it clearly shows that a change is advisable, the next issues to deal with are how much and how fast. Unless you've got real problems, my advice is to go slow and initiate small adjustments, those little tweaks I referred to. You don't always have to make a big announcement on what you're doing either. The subtle approach is often appreciated. People will almost certainly notice at some point. Change is challenging for everybody. Most people don't favor it. We like what we know and what we're used to. While small changes are usually fine with most people and may not need much discussion, the same can't be said for the larger ones. If you end up considering a major overhaul in how you do things, I'd want to run that by my team before making things permanent. Get everybody on the same page before implementing new decisions. This gives you a chance to sell the concept and get some additional feedback. Transforming your leadership style doesn't have to be disruptive. Communicate well with team members throughout the process, and it can be easier and smoother. than you might expect. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Is there a credibility gap that you got to jump when you make that style change?
Probably.
Yep.
It depends how long you've been doing it, how long you've been with the same team members. Yeah. And again, I do it the subtle way. I find some small things, but the first thing to do is talk to them and ask them some questions and say, how do you feel about them? How am I doing, basically? Is there any way I can do better? Is there anything that really bugs you about what? And these are hard questions to ask a team member.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure of it.
Really.
I'm sure of it because you're also not. You got to be concerned about how the employee, the person, is going to feel giving you an answer that might run counter to what your expectations are.
That's it.
Especially if you're the tough guy and the response from your team member comes back says you're kind of an ass at work here. Maybe you could lighten up a little bit.
That wasn't the exact answer I got when I did it, but I'll tell you what I did. I asked that question during the years that we had Directions Magazine, and I sat down with the team and I asked. I got some feedback that I wasn't exactly prepared for, but I just kept my mouth shut and I said, "Bring it on, let me have it." And
how many did you fire that day?
I was worried they were going to fire me.
Actually, you only need to fire one. Word gets around. 7:30. Yeah. Remember, employees are people, too. Yes, bottom of the hour, and that's Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. And yes, it is about time for headlines, brought to you by Al Yanger and the guys over at GPSI Guam, a registered contractor with the federal government. You're going, so what? Call Al, and he'll tell you how his company can work with your company, and both of you can get some federal business. GPSI's numbers 477-3058. Again, 477-3058. Also brought to you by Auntie Lolita Camet of Remax Diamond Realty for all of your real estate needs. And God bless folks over at Remax. If I remember it correctly, we did quiz night on Friday night. Remax Diamond Realty, I believe, sponsored a team of students from St. Anthony's School. It wasn't high schooler kids. So a bunch of kids from St. Anthony. They lost, but it was just nice that somebody saw an opportunity to bring some new blood into quiz night. That was nice. So anyway, thanks.
Young blood.
Very young blood, and they were having such a good time. They must have got they got all the pop questions correct. Singers and who's the guy in the band and all of that stuff. They were really exciting to see them get excited. Anyway, Auntie Loli's number is 688-6743. That's 688-6743. Now, with news from the Guam Daily Post, here's Montesilva Tyron.
Senators go into session today with 13 bills on the agenda by Democrat senators. There are also a couple of resolutions on the list, one of those by Senator Telena Nelson that urges Governor Luliang Guerrero to support pausing buildup activities. Session starts at 10. The legislature will also address a bill next week that will seek to ease up some of the restrictions placed on the Department of Education, in particular its ability to seek solar power. Bill 191 will, for one, remove GSA from the procurement process. DOE has been looking to go solar and for the authority to do its own procurement. DOE could see a savings of $4 to $5 million in utilities. He's under investigation by the House Ethics Committee, but Congressman Mike Sinicolas says he will not be taking leave. Sinicolas calling it a distraction and an effort to derail him from doing his job. Sinicolas alleged to have violated the House rules by having a relationship with a staffer. The Ethics Committee is also looking at allegations of misuse of campaign funds. And those are your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. I'm Montesilva Tyron.
7:32. I have not an app, but in my email I get alerts whenever Guam is mentioned in a Google story or a story, from national media or whatever, anywhere in the country. I get a ping in my email that says, "Hey, there's so and so is writing something about Guam." Over the weekend, everybody wrote about this investigation, this House investigation that has been launched against Mike. And now earlier in the conversation, in fact, Uncle Robert, we had Uncle Robert on last week, and Uncle Robert generally is not very generous giving quarter to Mike Sinicolas. But in this case, he was. I thought he was rather generous, saying, this looks like this looks like the conservative media taking advantage of this opportunity and taking a swipe at Democrats that are in the House. Okay, that was all right on Friday yesterday when it was just Fox and Washington Times reporting it, but even the Washington Post and now ABC and a few other of the regular drive-by liberal media have taken notice of it and are writing about it as well. Guam is making headlines,
and then
guys.
including the number of times that he's participating in the votes that are happening out there, and his counter is that I got to weigh what's important for Guam or what's important. And saying, I got to be face to face with my constituents out here. And on the other hand, here we've got constituents who say we're not seeing enough of our congressmen.
Yeah. So what's it going to be? Do you want him to sit around and just be on the floor and voting all the time, or do you want him to be out here with Codells and other delegations of folks that we want to be aware of Guam's issues with the federal government? So you take one way or the other. It's one of those things where I'm sure critics of Mike St. Nicholas looked at and said, "Oh, BS, whatever."
The surprising thing is, Uncle Robert last week said this happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's not unusual for these allegations to be made against him.
And just because an allegation has been made does not mean that any of that is true. We're still waiting for the same allegations that were laid by JD against Mike St. Nicholas over at the Guam Election Commission. Right. We're waiting for that conversation to take place. We may never know what's happening over there. Are you the preceding brought to you by the guys over at iConnect? Are you self-motivated, energetic, and outgoing? iConnect looking for the right people to be part of their corporate sales team. So if you've got sales experience, excellent communication skill, you can work as a team, you're encouraged to apply. Send your resume to hr@iconnectguam.com or visit iconnectguam.com for more information about the company that you're about to join. iConnect is an equal opportunity employer.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist. Lolita Cammett from RE/MAX Diamond Realty, a friendly, hardworking, and passionate RE/MAX professional, is committed to helping you make a difference in your life and to helping you achieve the American dream of home ownership. She also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, and military and corporate relocation. So for all your real estate needs, call Lolita Cammett from RE/MAX Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
7:36, getting word that the North Gate at Anderson Air Force Base is backed up, and I'm looking at this thing, and sure enough, I got a red line that stretches even before you get to Upi Elementary. So if you're headed in that direction, watch out for delays. On the other side, actually smooth movement between 9 and Marine Corps Drive. You'll see some traffic over at the intersection in front of Simon Sanchez High School. That's kind of ruddy in both directions, which usually means to me that either the traffic light isn't working or maybe there's an accident at that intersection, and it doesn't get any better. As soon as you get past that, then pretty soon you're going to get stuck in the line of traffic that has not even reached Wai-Sang-Song yet. Traffic on Wai-Sang-Song's moving right now, so nothing too scary there. Route 3 is starting to get messed up from around the schools into Guam Regional Medical City. Expect delays getting to Marine Corps Drive. Once you're on Route 1, should be fairly smooth. Just some intersection delays over at the Jollibee place and over at the hamburger joints that are across from each other. It'll be fine all the way into the downtown Hagutnia area. Might see a little bit of traffic over at the ITC intersection. That's churning as well. Looking a little bit further south, what have I got? Route 8 is busy. Route 4 is busy. Don't see too much that's going to slow you down. If you're trying to get into Big Navy, expect some delays there just because, it's 7:37, and it always backs up at 7:37. That's right now traffic here on The Point.
GRMC's cardiology department treats most complex heart problems. In our catheterization lab, cardiologists use imaging equipment to treat clogged arteries that can cause heart attacks or heart failure. We perform balloon angioplasty, stenting, and other life-saving cardiac procedures. If you suffer from a heart condition, have your provider refer you to GRMC's cardiology clinic at 645-5500. GRMC, where patients are partners.
Hey, 738-888-255-888-TALK. A throwback to something we were talking about in the last hour, and for lack of a better way to put it, the novelty of Koreans driving on Guam, and the things that we are slowly beginning to have to get used to, i.e., somebody needs to check their phone for directions, and they just stop kind of right there on the road. I'm not pulling over. Don't even turn the hazards on. I'm just going to stop and take a look at the phone or have a conversation or just, maybe take a selfie or something like that. We're kind of getting used to that. There was a story in the headlines there about a fella that left the kid in the car and came back to a bunch of people that started freaking out over at Kmart, a Korean fella. And I got word from a friend of ours, a Korean lady who had just recently been in Korea, and little girl, V, falls asleep in the back of the car. And they were going to go eat dinner someplace. And they said, I don't want to wake up V. And they said, well, just leave her in the car then. We'll park by a window so you can see from the car whether the kid is awake or whether somebody's taking him from the car or something like that. So it's very common practice out there to just, if the kid's comfortable, let them sleep. Leave the car on and get the air conditioner running, and everything is going to be okay. Al Bautista, who is in Korea, says road signs and street lights here, they're just recommendations. If you run a red light, no big deal. If you run a red light and get hit, they refer to the closed caption television device, and then they'll find fault and issue the citations there. Otherwise, just keep going. Side note, all Korea and drivers, this is interesting. All drivers have their phone numbers decaled on their windshields in case you need somebody to move. You can call them up and say...
That's a great idea.
Wouldn't it? Wait a second. This is Stalker Central on Guam. Ain't going to be no pretty girl on Guam is going to put her phone number on the car.
Hot chick.
Yeah. That stuff will get posted up on Facebook before you know it. I'll get there in just a second. Who's online? Jeff Pleadwell is there, and so is Jeff Chris. Saw him at the store yesterday. David Evans is hanging out. Smug's online. Finally, Greg Karabrock, James Howard, Rico Blancaflor says gas price drops in the U.S. Is Guam next? The answer is going to be no. It would surprise me a great deal. Tampa's crude moving in the other direction. Buddy Tom Higa's on the line. Xavier Attelig is there. Jennifer Posch-Schnitger. Renee Logie is online and will be in the studio a little bit later on. Rudy Magallanes is there, and so is Bob Lazama. Debbie Kinata is online. Hafadep. Scott Nelson, Galo Perez, Terry DeBold, Karen Otiwi is hanging out on Facebook Live this morning. So is Levon Guerrero Meno. Always nice to see that name there. And Peter Santos. This is the story about Facebook Libra. They didn't MSN in the story at all. What are you trying to say there, Pedro? 888-8255-888-TALK is the telephone number around here. Lots to talk about with Superintendent John Fernandez. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it went by pretty quickly, but got to do some yard work and all that catching up around the house.
I should have done some of that over the weekend, but the beach was calling loud, man. It was all about grill marks yesterday.
Yeah.
A good time to talk about going solar, if you ask me. I'm delighted that somebody has finally got a piece of legislation. You and I have actually talked about this, that could save the Department of Education in the millions of dollars by putting solar panels on all those rooftops you have.
Yeah, I think that if we were able to use solar, we'd be able to save maybe about $4 to $5 million a year if we were able to do it fully. So there really is an opportunity for DOE to see some savings and use those money for better priorities.
Yeah. Well, and it comes down to being able to do the procurement on that. And so it's an administrative change, and I don't see why they couldn't do that rather rapidly. Maybe even before the end of the year. There's at least two more sessions coming up, right?
Well, we're hoping to get the hearing done and then go to approval. The sooner we get it done, the better. And so I think for us, we've been looking at this. Vendors have been knocking at the door saying, "Why aren't you procuring solar energy?" And we've said, we just don't have the authority, and we need to change that. So hopefully we can make this happen and get to work and catch up with all of our fellow institutions who've been able to do, take the same steps forward.
I'm sorry. Just I know it's kind of a sticking point, a friction point for you, but I wonder if Judy Wanpat would be able to do that at Guahan Academy if she wanted to.
Yeah, well, Yeah, well, I know our partners at GCC and UOG have been moving ahead, and every time I talk to them, I kind of check in to see what they're doing, what kind of technology, how it's working, and we're not at the piloting stage anymore. I think it's been proven. You can take those savings, and what we like to do is, especially when we're in an environment where you're not going to see new revenues, and at least not right away, take some savings and dedicate that to fixing our facilities and addressing some of those other needs that we have.
I've been trying to bang on that drum on your behalf, you and Mark's behalf, over the last couple of weeks. As soon as I found out that they were talking about a fairly significant surplus from in the budget, the first thing in my head was let's get that money in the hands of the Department of Education and Guam Memorial Hospital. Millions of dollars in deferred maintenance at all of these different facilities, and if we've got some cash, those, it seems to me, are the appropriate places to put them.
Yeah, well, I've been meeting with Lieutenant Governor Tenorio and trying to make that point. And I know he's working with the fiscal team to see if he can help us, if the governor can help us with that shortfall that we've seen this year. So, wish us luck. We're pushing. We think it's important to make DOE whole, and also to provide the necessary investment in Simon Sanchez.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll keep banging that drum for you because I think that's important. Plus, I have many friends that are educators. All of my educator friends, and they all, whenever I see them, they say, "Hey, next time you're talking to John, ask about maybe those increments. Maybe that's something that they'll be able to do with some of that surplus money if you get it."
Right. Well, the increments should be released this coming paycheck. They went back to October 1st, and that they were put back into effect. We definitely want to see our employees receive those increments, because those basically reflect what they should have gotten last year if the budget were in a normal situation. So I know there's a lot of discussion about the pay that government employees get and whether they deserve it or not. But I do have to tell you, and I think when you're talking about teachers and staff who deal with our kids day to day, I think those increments are well deserved.
Yes, I'd like to see them go back a little bit further as well. 7:45 in the morning. Now I think I understand what's happening with the SRO situation in the schools. End of the day, you're not going to be working with the judiciary. They're not going to be providing that service to the Department of Education. I know that you've got some backup from the Guam Police Department, but that's, they can't be there all the time, and they've got other priorities. Who are you thinking about now to take on the roles of SROs if the dollars are available?
Well, we do have the dollars available to a federal grant. And so what we have to do is put it out for bid. And last time we put it out for bid, it was the judiciary that stepped forward. At that time, my understanding was the police department wasn't interested or didn't have the necessary resources to jump in there. But since when Lieutenant Governor Tenorio was over at the court, we had been working together on the direction and the future of the SRO program, knowing that there are some challenges that we have when you're talking about probation, folks at the courts working in our school system and working with law enforcement. There are just some legal gaps and legal issues that arise when you're taking contraband and doing all sorts of things. So we always knew that there would be some need to shift if possible. But the missing piece is whether or not the police department would partner. If you look at other districts, other jurisdictions, it's the police department that usually supports and provides some personnel to support the schools. So we do think that the police department will put in a proposal. We know the manpower is a challenge at this point, and looking to grow the force. But what we hope to do is start out with our high schools and then eventually expand to our middle schools. One thing that we've learned over the past few weeks is that it is really different to have a uniformed police officer on campus versus any other uniform that you see. Just the cops stopping by a couple of times a day just to be on campus, check and see what's going on. That's really calmed the campuses. The administrators see the difference. So, I'm looking forward to seeing them propose, whether they're going to be interested and if they can support us. I think it's going to be a good partnership.
I was wondering out loud the other day. I was over by the Academy of Our Lady, and I don't know if you've noticed, but they've got those guys in yellow shirts, the same crew that the G4S has out in Tumon, on the bicycles and things like that. And I was wondering if you would entertain a proposal from G4S to bring some of those fellas, make them kind of patrol officers, and take on that SRO role. Wouldn't be that far off from what they're already doing at the Plaza de España and down in Tumon.
No, definitely. I mean, if there are any private entities that want to come step forward and put a proposal together, we'll definitely give that a good look. It really is a matter of being able to supply the numbers of personnel that we're talking about, to cover all of our secondary schools, and it's really about being able to provide trained, professionals. And then there's multiple roles. It's law enforcement, but there's also a counseling and a mentoring role that these SROs play on campus. So, again, we're looking forward to it. We should see the solicitation take place over the next few weeks, so that hopefully by December we'll have something ready to award.
Did you have another riot situation on Friday?
We had an incident it's actually Thursday. I reported on Friday at Ocean View Middle School.
There.
And so that's something. And again, we had been dealing with some of the high school situations, and not that it's calmed. I mean, yes, it's calmed down with the high schools. So we hope that this issue at Ocean View Middle School is addressed really, the same way, clearly and cleanly, and prevent this from happening. We're still gathering the facts and all the details of what happened on Thursday, but hope to learn more about that today and how the school is going to address it.
At the outset, did anybody indicate whether alcohol was involved in this case?
I'm not aware that alcohol was involved in it.
Okay, all right, but maybe a different path, and maybe you need a few more people patrolling down at Ocean View as well. 10 away from the top of the hour. Before I let you go, I want to congratulate you on getting the Phillips Award from Mike and his sister.
Oh no, thank you. That was actually a surprise to get an award. It was from the obviously through the Association of Government Accountants, and of course, not being an accountant, I thought it was quite an accomplishment to be recognized from that part of our community, but also from I know that the late John Phillips was very who passed away earlier this year. Was very moved to receive the award, and also just to look at the names of past recipients. I mean, I told them at the meeting, I said all of these former recipients, by their first name, Ben, BJ, Doris, and go down. There's about 7 of them, senators and public auditors and so forth. So it was just nice to be able to be recognized, but it just put a little bit more pressure to get things done. So appreciate their support.
Well, it'd be nice if there were 2 or 3 versions of you that were floating around, so that you could, with as many different hats as you're wearing. And while you're not an accountant, you got to be pretty sharp on numbers with everything that you're doing. You've already got the procurement capabilities for the rebuild of Simon Sanchez, and now asking for the procurement capabilities so that you might be able to go solar. Interesting question from Peter on Facebook Live, and I'm not going to ask you definitely for your thought. I'll ask you for your thoughts on it, although you don't have to give me an expert response, but he was asking about how we have done with solar in light of all of the storms that Guam has gotten, and near as I can tell, I don't know that there have been any major solar flyaways in any of the storms that we've had, but we haven't also had any really big bad storms since about 2001. Is that your experience?
Well, I wouldn't know firsthand, but I haven't heard anything with regard to solar issues in terms of the equipment. But I guess I had heard some rumblings about whether or not, because of the overcast conditions, the solar panels are able to generate enough power for the facility. So that's something I'd have to lean on the expert to let us know. Maybe GPA can tell us whether what they're seeing. But I think on the solar side,
GPA is going to say we've got plenty of solar. Don't worry about it. We can supply all of your electrical needs. They're not going to want to lose maybe one of the biggest customers that they have to solar panels.
Yeah, no, understood. And we'd like to work with them to do what we can to. But I think that at the end of the day, we're paying about $12 to $13 million in utility costs, and every time we work to conserve, we see our consumption go down, but the price still goes up, and we don't seem to be making a lot of headway just on the demand side. So it's important that we look at different sources of energy.
Well, how much of the Every Child is Entitled to the Adequate Education Act talks about keeping temperatures in the classroom facilities at a certain number. That costs money to do in a day and age where we're not necessarily buying the most efficient air conditioning systems in the world. Gentlemen, let you run because I know how busy you are. Appreciate your time.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, Ray.
All right. I certainly will. 888-825-5888-TALK, Superintendent of the Department of Education. Only other questions outstanding are, have we gotten any word from the Federal Department of Education about getting released off of certain parts of the third-party fiduciary agent? But that's one of those questions you don't need to ask, because if there was traction on that, he would have led with that. He would have started with that. 7:53 in the morning. Where are we starting this morning? 888-8255. And on Facebook Live, Nick Perlowski says, get a bunch of volunteer veterans. We'll straighten things out down there. I am behind the idea, Nick, of getting a whole bunch of veterans together and you guys starting your own charter school, right? So it'd be like, instead of like having a school with an ROTC in it, it would be an ROTC school. And we'd get veterans from all the different services in there. We'll have Marine training days, and there's going to be Navy training days and Air Force training, for golf. And then there's going to be Coast Guard, and all of these other guys are going to be getting together, and we just, be like boot camp for 9 months of the year. And get everybody in there in uniforms and prepare them for a career, perhaps in the military.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, so maybe do something along those lines. Then there's the whole idea of some kind of a boot camp for kids to go, kind of unruly kids to go to, where they can learn a couple of skills, teach them something about self-control and self-confidence, and maybe there's something like that. Okay, Phil Leon Guerrero, who doesn't work at the radio station anymore, he now works at Regine Bisco Lee's office. She is in charge of the Committee on Rules, and he wanted me to correct myself. I was making a joke about how it is that poor Jimmy Moylan never gets anything on the. Jimmy Moylan actually has an item on the agenda.
It does it. I didn't see it. Did you?
It's maybe it's a different agenda than the one that you had printed out. James Moylan, bill number 104-35, an act to amend blah 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 relative to those U.S. corporations repatriating at least $5 million of their deferred foreign income to Guam, the repatriation tax, to create a repatriated profits fund, its guidelines, and to establish a third-party agent industry for Guam. So the idea is you get all these companies that have all of these earnings from offshore. They need to report it into the United States, and they want to be able to do it. There's a way that through the repatriation of those funds, I believe they get some kind of a break if they go through Guam. And I only halfway understand it. Carl Gutierrez understands it the whole way. And this would allow for the creation of the facility and the account that those dollars could go into. And some people think that it could be, if you repatriate those funds through Guam and through the Department of Revenue and Taxation out here with a little bit of a holding fee, government of Guam ought to be able to make some serious dough on this. But as I said, I don't completely understand it, and so I'll either get him on the line, it's Jim Moylan on the line, or Mike Sinicolas at some point, because Mike Sinicolas has been trying to champion this in Washington, D.C. for some time.
And then at the same time, you update your agenda that you have online there, because it's...
It does not show item number 3 for the second reading pile there. There are a couple of other things that are kind of interesting that they're going to be going through in the agenda that I've seen. GEPA and the adoption of the rules and regulations, purchase of energy efficient. The government of Guam is going to be buying stuff to the degree that it is practicable. They have to buy energy-efficient deals. So we're talking cars, air conditioners, lights, all of the things that might get plugged in. If there's a better, more energy-efficient option, the government of Guam will be compelled to buy that one where it is practicable, is what the language of the law states. There's a public awareness for radon. That comes up every once in a while. Somebody over at GEPA will find grant money or something to advertise for radon testing kits. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I think they've got radon tester kits available over at GEPA. Radon, an interesting element that comes out of the ground. So when they built the house that you live in, they put a vapor barrier underneath where the concrete for the foundation was going to go, and the idea is that vapor barrier would prevent any of the radon gases from coming out of the ground. It's naturally occurring, coming out of the ground, and then coming into the house and poisoning everybody and giving everybody cancer. So that's why they're talking about, yeah, no problem. That's why they're talking about radon. Now, the interesting thing is that is a generally recent addition, I believe, to the foundations of houses. Back in the olden days, they didn't bother with vapor barriers. They just dug a hole and filled it with concrete and said, okay, start building the rest of the house.
So what do? You get these testing kits, then it determines whether or not you're
whether
exposed.
whether you've got some radon in the house.
And then what do you do?
Burn the place down, whatever facility. No, actually,
I mean, if it comes from the ground, you got to...
Well, so there are people right now, Barragata Heights, as an example, some of those homes, and I'm almost positive the house that I'm in now in Mong Mong was built prior to those vapor barriers.
Oh, yes, it was.
Putting up, because this is a long time before you even born. 7:58, and so I had asked a question of somebody over at EPA a couple of years ago in a phone-in interview. I said, what do I do if I live in a house that doesn't have the vapor barrier underneath the foundation? Guy says, open the window. Just every once in a while, air the house out, and any of that radon gas that might be trapped in the house will go outside and mingle with the atmosphere. So if you're living in an old house and just don't know about it, that might be one of the things that you do is go get yourself a radon testing kit, see what the levels are now, and open the window. As Granddaddy used to say, get that tiger out of the room. Coming up, do you believe it's 8 o'clock already?
It goes really fast.
Amazing how quick this show goes. Anyway, halfway through the program, and we haven't barely scratched the surface on a bunch of table of contents items. And we're going to talk about sports. I am at 8 now on the football pick'ems, and I'm glad I picked San Francisco. They are beating the snot out of Carolina right now. At the half, it was... What are they, 27-13 or something like that in that game? That's where they are now, with 11 minutes in the third quarter. I think that game is definitely going to San Francisco. New England and Cleveland, interesting game we got there. New England has not gone and started running away with points, 17-7. So there might still be some juice left in there for Cleveland and Oakland and Houston right now. I got Houston, but Oakland's got them by about 4 points. Is it time for news? It is. We're KUSG again. This is The Point.
The world's #1 terrorist is dead. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News. The U.S. military launching a daring raid to take out the leader of ISIS. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reports from the Pentagon.
Officials say 8 U.S. helicopters were used in the raid to kill ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. The strike force launched from a base in Kurdish-held northern Iraq and took heavy fire en route to the target in northwest Syria, a known terrorist hotbed and home to al-Qaeda-linked fighters. Baghdadi detonated a suicide vest, taking 3 children with him.
And President Trump with this reaction.
Baghdadi was vicious and violent, and he died in a vicious and violent way as a coward, running and crying.
The president says he watched the raid in real time from the Situation Room. Vice President Mike Pence also there.
This is a great day for America. Al-Baghdadi, the most wanted man in the world, is dead. And it's a tribute to the courage of our armed forces, special forces that executed the raid on the compound.
The Vice President on CBS Face the Nation. Firefighters are battling to contain a wildfire in Southern California.
The tick fire is under control for now. However, there are still at least 925 firefighters working around the clock to put out hot spots where they want to stop these embers from smoldering before these possible high winds hit the area tonight. Now, we could get wind gusts of up to 75 miles per hour at the height of this next round of Santa Ana winds.
Fox's Christina Coleman. Another wildfire is raging in Northern California wine country. Governor Gavin Newsom declaring a state of emergency. Former Michigan Congressman John Conyers has died. He was 90. Conyers was the longest-serving African-American in congressional history. America is listening to Fox News.
Konnichiwa! We'll be celebrating the 40th Japan Autumn Festival on Saturday, November 16th from 2 until 9 at the Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park. That's Ipao Beach Park. Parking will be available across Oka Payless with free shuttle service every 15 minutes starting at 1:30. Advance tickets available now at the Japan Club of Guam office located on the first floor of Pia Marine during business hours. The Japan Autumn Festival at Ipao Beach Park, November 16th from 2 to 9. Come join us. For information, call 646-8066. This message made possible by Choice Broadcasting.
broadcasting.
Join Nissan Guam on November 3rd as we try to break the Guinness World Record of 250 Nissan vehicles in a motorcade. Register now for only $10 with proceeds going to select charities and get a free World Record Driver t-shirt. Plus, be entered into our raffle giveaway for a chance to win a $1,000 travel voucher from United Airlines and more. Registration is open to the first 370 people and closes November 1st. So hurry. Register online at NissanGuam.com or visit our showroom today. No purchase necessary to enter. Raffle conditions apply. See Nissan Guam for details.
The successful military operation against ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi stirring up painful memories of 9/11.
News of his death obviously coming as a relief to folks here in New York who 18 years ago suffered the worst attack on U.S. soil since Pearl Harbor. Almost 3,000 people were killed when al-Qaeda hijackers flew 2 jets into the Twin Towers at the World Trade Center, changing forever U.S. initiatives to combat terrorism. It wasn't until 10 years after 9/11 that U.S. forces killed Osama bin Laden. But with the Islamic State emerging as a new threat against the West, national security threats never diminished, and Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was the world's most wanted terrorist. People in New York are feeling celebratory, but also leery of possible retaliatory attacks.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich. A doctors group proposes wider use of an invasive weight loss procedure among kids.
New guidance from the American Academy of Pediatrics saying that some severely obese preteens should be considered for weight loss surgery. The Academy citing several studies showing that surgery in teens can result in marked weight loss lasting several years with few complications. Benefits include the elimination of diabetes and high blood pressure. Nearly 5 million U.S. children and teens are severely obese, that number nearly doubling over the past 20 years. Paul Stevens, Fox News.
Gunshots at an off-campus party near Texas A&M. 2 dead, 14 injured.
The shooter came in the back door, and his first victim we think may have been his target victim, and we're going on by theory and circumstantial evidence that we have. And then the rest of them were just random.
Sheriff Randy Meek says there were more than 700 people at that party. The gunman escaped in the chaos. University officials say the event was not sanctioned by the school. I'm Kathleen Maloney, and this is Fox News.
Wow, nice smile. So perfect and all.
Thanks. I owe it all to Dr. Robert Yang and his smile team. They do wonders for a healthy, happy mouth.
Got teeth? Don't wait until they hurt. Schedule your routine checkup and cleaning with Dr. Yang and his smile team. Suite 119 in the East West Business Center, Upper Tumon. Call 647-8702 or 3.
The best thing that happened to teeth since toothpaste.
Dr. Yang and his smile team.
They make smiles happen.
What's for breakfast at KFC under $3.95, you ask? What's for breakfast at KFC that's different than the other guys, you ask? KFC's chicken wrap, sausage wrap, the Colonel's chicken congee, chicken fried steak, sausage biscuit and gravy, and biscuit sandwiches made with KFC's original fluffy biscuits. All for under $3.95 and all only at KFC. Plus, with waffles and the Colonel's chicken fried rice, we've got something for everyone.
So visit KFC for breakfast today. It's finger-licking good.
In life, we all have the ability to make a difference, to make an impact on someone's life. As we look around us, time never stops, but we are filled with endless moments of gratitude. The art of giving is incorporated in so many different ways. At Guam Gift Baskets, we want to be able to express your gratitude and love to those who you care about. Show your appreciation with a gift made with love this holiday season. Visit our website at guamgiftbaskets.com. See the smiles, touch their hearts, feel the experience.
Today and good morning. It's 8:06. I'm Mana Silva Tyron with some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. They may be $20 million in surplus funds being reported by the administration, but it isn't known if the Department of Education will get any of that. It's worrisome, with DOE more than 90 days late in paying about $2.3 million to more than a dozen vendors. The Guam Power Authority, the Guam Retirement Fund, air conditioning repair companies, and cafeteria services among the vendors. The $2.3 million in overdue payments are more than 90 days late. An additional $400,000 has hit the 60-day margin, and even if school officials are able to make the payments now, they'll be using money needed to pay for this year's bills. The bulk of DOE's reported shortfall comes from the Territorial Education Facilities Fund, or the TEF, which the government bankrolls with property taxes. Often, though, the taxes collected fall short of lawmakers' projections, which means less money for public schools. Board Chairman Mark Mendiola says they need to make vendors whole, and failing to make timely payments to vendors also makes it difficult to get vendors to work with them. For example, he said some textbook vendors won't send GDOE books unless they've made payments. The legislature will address a bill this week that seeks to ease up some of the restrictions placed on DOE, in particular its ability to seek solar panels for their schools. Bill 196 will, for one, remove GSA from the procurement process. DOE's been looking to go solar and is asking for the authority to do its own procurement. If all goes in their favor, DOE will see a savings of up to $4 to $5 million a year in utilities. Currently, they pay up to $12 million in power bills. Congressman Mike Nicholas says he will stay on the job despite the House Ethics Committee's launching of an ethics investigation. The investigation is into allegations that he had a sexual relationship with a member of his congressional staff. Nicholas is also under investigation by the committee for allegedly converting campaign funds to personal use and accepting improper or excessive campaign contributions. Now, certain members of Congress have taken leave or resigned when dealing with such grave allegations. Senator Nicholas, however, says that the allegations are nothing but distractions and efforts to derail him from doing his job. Nicholas adds that his outcome as a freshman in the last 10 months have been unprecedented. We'll have more news after this.
Want 10% off your next flight to the U.S.? Now through October 31, receive 10% off select United Airlines flights to the U.S. when you purchase your ticket with your United credit card or United Mileage Plus credit card from First Hawaiian Bank. Use promo code FHB019 when booking your flight. With a travel sale like this, you could wake up to a different sunrise in any part of the U.S. Visit FHB.com/United Fair Sale 19 to learn more. Terms and conditions and restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC.
Hulu is all your TV in one place, plus more. Watch thousands of hit shows, movies, and award-winning Hulu originals for only $5.99 per month. It's TV without the cable contract and the freedom of on-demand streaming. Get current network shows from ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, and binge-watch every season of your favorite cable shows. Premium Hulu viewing is brought to you by Proline Automotive and AB Sports, Guam's store for Nike. To advertise on Hulu, call Choice Digital at 989-0042.
A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held for the first phase of a new Ironwood low-income housing development with 53 and 4-bedroom units in the Mongmong Totomaiti area. The development is called Villa Del Mar. The ceremony was also as a groundbreaking ceremony for the second phase of the project, which will add 88 1-, 2-, and 3-bedroom units. The project was completed using federal low-income housing tax credits, which are awarded locally by the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. Ironwood Guam Development Vice President Carlos Camacho said the company's completed 700 units using the program. A community center within the development is one of their highlights. Some of these units go for rental rates of less than $800 a month if the tenants can qualify under certain low-income criteria. The Chamorro Land Trust Commission held the first of several planned listening sessions regarding land trust issues. The session was open to southern villages, but only about 24 people showed up. CLTC Administrator Jack Hattig said it would not be the last meeting for southern residents. Now, there were a range of topics covered from access ways and surveying to financial lending and farming. In particular, he says they discussed the lack of funding for government-conducted surveys. Hattig says a survey and infrastructure fund was created with the intent of funding government-conducted surveys, but right now there's no money in that account. He said it was highly publicized during the previous administration that money was transferred out of that particular fund. So he says they are trying now to put money back into that fund. Another hot topic is the inability of property owners to get leases from local banks. Housing Corp President Alice Tyron says that the Guam Housing Corporation is the only local institution lending money for mortgages to the CLTC leaseholders. She says she's working with the CLTC to find out why local banks aren't lending to Chamorro Land Trust holders. The CLTC plans on holding town hall meetings for central and northern villages, and Those meetings will be in November and December. And those are some of your top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Here now is your weather with Ray.
Partly cloudy skies, isolated showers today. Winds east up to about 15 miles an hour, decreasing 5 to 15 miles an hour. Tonight, highs around 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 78 degrees. Sunset at 5:55 tonight. Sunrise this morning was at 6:13. We'll see it come up maybe a hair later tomorrow morning as we're moving into that time of year. And it's a great time to be running around. I got some snaps here, a snap here of running around yesterday. I was getting my grill marks on, and at the end of her bowling match, Renee found her way to the beach, and there was some actual grill marking going on at the beach. If you're watching on Facebook Live, that's a picture of me and my goofball hat, and behind me is Renee. She's on the phone calling in another pizza airstrike to the crew underneath the blue tent over at Fujita Beach yesterday. Grand time was had by all, yes?
Good. We had a good group of people there.
It was an interesting group of people as the day kind of wore on, and not one of us wanted to leave at sunset. Everybody's just sitting around going, crap, that means it's the end of the weekend, but we still got beer, so let's just stick around for a little while longer. 8:13 in the morning, that's Renee. She's going to be joining Mana and Mike and I with a look at what's going on in sports here in just a second. But we'll finish up the weather report with a look at the weather radar. Mike will give you an idea of what things are going to be like for second string traffic, guys.
Yeah, I need to move that up just a little bit. We're off center there, but looks like a fairly heavy shower moving across the deep south, but not much else anywhere else. You might see a shower or two as we go through the day today, just isolated stuff. We're in the diurnal switch right now, so the nighttime stuff is fading away, but we're getting some new development out to the east, and more stuff way out to the east. We'll go ahead and switch to satellite real quick. That is a weak trough of low pressure, basically stretched out from north to south. A trade wind disturbance is what we'll call that one. That one's actually pretty robust. Got a lot of moisture and activity, convection with it. That's going to be slowly making its way this way during the day today. We'll pass through here over the night tonight and into tomorrow, maybe even over the first part of Wednesday. So that'll increase our rain chances just a bit for tomorrow. But for today, more grill marks. So
if you can do it, get breakaway and go and put on the skimpiest thing you've got and go hang out at the beach all day long. 8:14 in the morning. That's news and weather.
When
together.
I do that, people try to push me back in the water.
That's the weather guy, Michael Knight. We got more stuff on the way here on The Point.
Half a day. Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Jade Uggan of Umatic, and this is where I start my day. Listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi itanonmu. Protect your land. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
A quarter after 8 o'clock in the morning, and because there was a story we ran about Mike St. Nicholas in Congress, and now everybody's trying to throw some more shade on the guy and saying, okay, we got allegations of improper sexual affair that you had with somebody on the staff, and then there's the conversion of campaign funds to pay for credit cards, and then they came out and said, and you don't even show up at all the voting that takes place in Congress. You've missed out on a whole lot of voting opportunities. And Mike's answer was, because I have to go to Guam every once in a while and see what's happening out there. And not every voting opportunity is a vote that requires me to have some kind of an input. As you might imagine, there's probably a whole lot of junk that goes on in Washington, D.C. that won't make any difference to us one way or the other. So why bother having the guy go out there and vote? So the question, though, that pops up in my head, once we leave that conversation, the question that pops into my head is the senators here on Guam. Who has got the best voting record, i.e. he or she votes on everything that gets put in front of them over at the legislature, and who's got the worst voting record?
Also, what would be good to see is the attendance record at a lot of the public hearings that are held on the bills, because all of them are relevant to us here on Guam. So which senator attends the most public hearings?
Right. And the most votes, and the other question you were asking, and Phil the LG says he'll see if he can get the answers to those kinds of questions. But the other question is, who has traveled the most? Who's got the most mileage under their belt since being inaugurated into the 35th Guam legislature? Inquiring minds want to know, and Phil Pasu says he's going to try to get those numbers for me. All right, spicy smackdown going on right now at Wendy's There's actually some of this in the house. Spicy nuggets with the sriracha dipping sauce, bacon jalapeno cheeseburgers, chicken sandwich, bacon jalapeno pepper fries, and melty cheese, spicy buffalo chicken salad, and plenty more. The heat is definitely on over at Wendy's. You can get spaghetti. You can ask them to put jalapenos in the spaghetti over at Wendy's, and they'll do it for you. Portions of the program also brought to you by American Medical Center. They're now taking Medicare, Aetna, and all kinds of new patients. If you want to check out the experience at AMC, especially the one they've got out in Manila, nice store. 647-8262, 647-8262, and you get more information through that. The Ray Gibson Show also brought to you by American President Lines, a global presence in a local home, and Take Care with their proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage you and your family to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle through preventative care, being active, eating right, relaxing and unwinding, and being socially connected. We were practicing balanced lifestyle yesterday. I had Bud in one hand, Bud Light in the other. It's 8:17 in the morning. Ray Gibson Show continues.
Real Talk Radio is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
8:18, it is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point, and get a note from a buddy of mine says you need to post more pictures of Renee up on the Facebook Live and on the feeds and all of this other stuff. He's Frank is smitten by you and wants to get more of Renee's pictures up on social media.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's all she needs is more boyfriends. 8:18 in the morning and hanging out with Renee. Even though it's the weekend, we still kind of hang out with each other because we know where all the good grill mark spots are. But you were participating in another kind of sporting event before the beach yesterday. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So she's picked up another sport, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so the GHRA Bowling League is going on right now. So every Sunday we're in week 5 right now. So I think we got 5 more weeks to go.
And so it's an entire. Where do you guys go over at?
Century Lanes.
Century Lanes, and then there are a couple of reasons why you want to go to Century Lanes. Number one, I think they're like the only bowling alley now on this side of the island that you don't have to go on base to get to because the other one's over at Leo Palace. And the other reason is, and a little known fact, but there's a bar back there. And the prices that they have for beer is significantly cheaper than you will find at virtually every other bar on the island. So the recommendation is, guys, if you're looking for a watering hole where you will never be found, go and find the bar over. You don't have to bowl. You don't have to be a member of the league. You can just go in there and play pool and drink beer if you want to. But if you are a bowler and you suck, then that's also a good reason to know that there's a bar in the back. So how'd you do? What kind of average you end up with for 3 games?
Total. Well, I averaged about a 110.
110.
Right now, plus my handicap, which is a 72. So not that great.
But no. There are teams that are going. There's guys that go, dude, we need a 72 handicap on our team. We need something. We've got to balance it out because there's guys with scratch bowlers out there, bowling in the 220s, and their handicap combined is 0. So they always like to have somebody on the team that's got a relatively high handicap, so it balances out with as they're performing. I was actually one of those high handicap guys on a team, and I was bowling up in the 190s and low 200s at the time, and the guy said, "Yeah, but we still but your handicap is high, Mr. Gibson. So can you join on our team?" It's not like being asked to be the anchor man or anything important like that. 20 after 8 o'clock in the morning, and there is sports going on today. Michael Knight comes in the studio, into my office this morning, and he's all breathless. He said today's one of those rare days where there's supposed to be something going on in virtually all sports.
Yeah, that's right, because you've got Major League Baseball playing Game 5 of the World Series. You've got the NFL action going on today. Basketball is happening. We've got hockey happening, and there's one more happening.
Soccer.
Is there soccer?
Major League Soccer?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe that's it. I don't know. But I know there were 5 major sports that are all having games today.
The October equinox.
Yeah, right? But I can't find the NBA. There was a Clippers-Suns game, and the Suns won that one. And then tomorrow, according to this, it's going to be the Jazz and the Suns, the Nuggets and the Kings, and the Hornets and the Clippers. So I've got a yesterday score, I've got tomorrow's games, but I don't have a today on the NBA. So I'm just kind of curious what some of the other stuff was. See, dig it out if it's there. Otherwise, yeah, there's a whole lot of sports going on. When we stopped talking about baseball on Friday, it looked like it was going to be the Nationals. It looked like they were going to be able to walk away with this because they'd beaten Houston a couple of times.
Yeah, but just like we were talking the other day with baseball, you never know. You could just have a bad day with some errors, but the Astros are coming through. They had some really solid games. And they're still in D.C. for the game today, Game 5 today, and I actually think the Astros are probably going to take it again
well,
today.
I was on the fence about it. To go in with what you were saying, yeah, we talked about it. The Astros basically had a couple of games in Washington like the Nationals had in Houston. And yesterday, 8-1. I mean, we just smacked them down and made them look foolish out there. But that's not indicative of who the Nationals really are. They're actually a very good ball club, so you can't look past them. But I'm glad we pulled it even. It's a 2 out of 3.
It's a brand new game.
Yeah,
it's a brand new
2 out of 3.
It's an interesting matchup because you got Scherzer and Cole again. So
Actually,
game 1.
Scherzer's been pulled. He's got back
pulled.
spasms.
Ooh,
yeah,
I did not read that update.
Yeah. This just broke down within the last hour. So Scherzer is actually not pitching, and that's going to actually enhance the Astros' chances. And I got to be honest with you, and anybody else that's listening and knows anything about baseball, the Nationals got Verlander and Cole the first time around. You're not likely to get those two guys like they did twice in the same series. And I just don't. It looks good now for the Astros actually to take this game today because it's not Scherzer on the mound, and of course they'll go back to Houston. That will be on Wednesday.
And then they get to play at home, and you get all that energy that is going to be bubbling up.
Although it must be noted that at this point, home field advantage has meant absolutely nothing.
8:23. Hey, now here's the question on the World Series that I guess people are still asking. But is the president going to throw a ball at the World Series? And the conventional wisdom is he don't have the guts to go out there and face a baseball crowd. Now I'm not I don't pay any attention to baseball, but as I'm reading up on it, baseball fans can they either hug each other, love each other, and they're all on the same page in the stadium. But if one guy starts booing President Trump, the entire crowd, especially if they're playing in New York, is going to boo the president of the United States.
I think Trump is such a divisive figure as he is. No, they won't put him in the middle of a baseball field because you're going to have people on both sides, and then they're going to start arguing over their MAGA hats, and it's just they're supposed to be playing a baseball game.
Yes, and so that. But I mean, this has been a big conflict. This has been a subject for talk radio in the last couple of days. Is should the president go out there and he has not in the past since the Trump presidency. He has not thrown out the first pitch in a World Series. As other presidents have done in the past.
And if he were going to, Game 1 would have been the one to do it.
Yeah. Well, apparently the deal is that he's in town, the game's in town, and they don't want to impede the flow of baseball fans into the stadium by having that whole secret surface rigmarole. So they said they'd go ahead and start the game and get everybody inside in their chairs with their cold beers, and then at some point the president will come out and actually throw the first pitch and make some kind of an appearance. So how would that go, Renee, if you were in the stands and all of a sudden here comes, no, I'm not going to ask you.
All right,
I'm not going to ask you. Yeah, we'll just leave that there. Because I know I would cheer. I'd go because I like Trump.
It was Prince Harry and Meghan.
Really?
Harry and Meghan came out. They're not Prince and Princess, but yeah, they threw out the first pitch, and I missed it because I was getting a beer.
The girl has got priorities. You come back in, and what happened? Well, the prince came in. No way, really?
Yeah.
That's got to have the priorities. I dig that. I would have done the same. I would have gone out there with you. All right, what have we got? Grace Bigonski says, hi, Renee.
Oh, that's
Big
my
sister
mom.
Shelley's online. Oh, that's your mom?
Uh-huh.
Hey, how you doing, Grace?
Hi, Mom.
Keena McCausland say, sorry for Renee's bill. The Who Dat Nation, the Saints won, but who picks Philly? What is that?
I know. Oh, I actually woke up to watch this game, too. It was so disappointing.
Oh, my God. All right, so we jump into it. It's time for the football pick'ems and the review of the games so far. Let me just refresh my screen and see where we are. So it was an easy call last week when it was the Minnesota and Washington. Minnesota came in and beat that one there 19-9. And so that was my first point this weekend. How'd you do?
Same here. Yeah, same with you.
You want to hear my story?
You went Washington. You changed your mind and went Washington.
No.
What?
I submitted the picks here with you,
Yeah.
but my data bucket is at 95% used already. It was grayed out that everything went through, so I went to check where I was at, how I was doing this morning.
Uh-huh.
Didn't save any of my picks.
Oh.
Again.
Oh.
So I'm out for the season. I'm on the injured list.
Wow.
I got Seattle, but
you would have picked the
Minnesota,
Vikings.
right? Yeah. Seattle beats Atlanta this morning. I picked that one, and that was 27-20. And then we get down to the Buffalo Bills in Philadelphia, and I was in the middle of the morning prep there, and I was looking at this, going, I don't think the Bills are going to win this. 31-13.
It was a good first half. I mean, it was still a game, and then the second half of the game, and Philly just kept pushing forward and got a couple touchdowns, and next thing you know, we're out.
What'd you hear?
It's kind of like one of those, situations where, the Bills better than the Eagles on paper and actually have had a better season, but the Eagles made some second half adjustments, got some of the matchups that they wanted, and that really makes a difference.
Defense was strong, and we were making a lot of passes that just didn't connect.
And that makes a difference. It comes ultimately a football game will come down to 3 or 4 plays during the course of the game that will stop a team's momentum from being able to carry on with what they were doing, and that looks like that happened. On
and then pretty soon you just got too much ground to cover and not enough time to get it done. And it looks like a real tight game between the Chargers and Chicago. I was going for Chicago on this game, but it was down to 17-16. It's just a field goal.
I almost went with the Chargers on it because they kind of feel like the better team, and I like Rivers, who's their quarterback. But it was in Chicago with that defense, and with a 1-point game, it could have gone either way. I'm not really hating life that I missed this pick. It just it is what it is.
I got you. Minami Ijima Martin is online. She's saying Renee Logie, and then there's 3 Valentine's eyes. So we're fans of Minami's, and Minami is fans of us. James Howard says, don't mix sports and politics. It's bad juju. Well, the point is that there is tradition. Since there has been World Series, presidents have generally gone out there and either gotten the love or the hate of a crowd. Herbert Hoover, they say, is legendary. When he got out there, it started with just a small little whisper of a couple of people going, boo. And then before too long, the entire stadium was booing Hoover. Who else we got? I got the Detroit-New York game. That was an easy call. Detroit wins it 31-26.
Tell you what, they had to hold the Giants off, though. They had a better command of this game, but towards the end, the Giants tried to make that comeback. But no, the Lions were able to pull it out.
If they'd had another touchdown, the Giants would have gotten it. Tennessee over Tampa Bay, 27-23.
That was another one. It kind of went down to the last quarter. Tennessee was behind as we got about halfway through the fourth quarter there, but they were able to recover. And I actually was hoping I would miss that pick because Tennessee's in my division. I wanted them to lose, but they won. So
Rico Blancaflor says, LOL, switched to the Eagles at the last minute. Sorry, Bills fans. Well, you must have seen that one coming. I got the Indianapolis over Denver. It's 15-13. Tight game between those two. Rams over Cincinnati. That was another easy call. 24 to Cincinnati's 10. Who Dat Nation? 31 over Arizona. New Orleans beats Arizona 31-9.
Yeah, Drew Brees came back for this game, and he evidently, I haven't seen the stats, but evidently he had a pretty big game at 31 points.
And last final I've got right now is Jacksonville over New York. Jacksonville 29, New York Jets at only 15.
Yeah, that was predictable, I think.
And then we've got Dave Torrey's probably off somewhere smiling real big. What is his third quarter with a minute left in the quarter? The 49ers are beating Carolina 34-13. Carolina looks like they were able to get at least something going, but this ain't going to be their game if it keeps up.
No, San Francisco at home got a pretty good offense, and they're starting to click now. We're getting about midway through the season, and this is really when the good teams start to click and show what they're really made of. And San Francisco's still on a roll. I mean, they're going to lose at some point in the year, but it won't be this week.
And so it'll be 7-0 if at the end of this, right?
That's right.
Unbeaten.
Yeah, because
in the season so far.
They've had a bye, I believe.
Where to now? New England and Cleveland. New England 24. Cleveland at 10 in the third quarter with 6 minutes on. I got Oakland 21 to Houston's 13, and that's not good for me because I'm going for Houston on this. I don't want Oakland to win.
Yeah, well, Houston's been a second half team this year so far, so I'm not counting them out yet. Plus, it's only about halfway through the third quarter. Got plenty of game left.
All right, and then we get into predictions. We got the late game today. Packers over Kansas City. I'm going Green Bay. Renee?
Green Bay too.
All right, definitely, and everybody moving in that direction. And then the game tomorrow is Pittsburgh and Miami. Miami has not been able to pull anything along here, so I've got Pittsburgh with an easy win.
Yeah, they're not gonna do it this week either.
It's just like that. All right, so for Pick'ems as of now, where the games stand, I'm at 8. You are also at 8.
I am at 8,
and
yes.
you would have been about 8 because we didn't disagree on too much last week.
The same.
Real quick, I can tell us who's in first place if I can get back into the system real fast. Weeks, go to weeks. Here we go to weeks, and we are in week. Come here, you stupid little thing.
Can you get to the overview?
There we go.
All right, so Ming the Merciless with 80 points. There's a two-way tie between Nate and I. A series of unfortunate events, and I are split at 70. So we'll see what happens with these late games to see if a series of unfortunate events was able to pick better than me on the late games. We'll see what happens. So that's the way the standings go.
We're about halfway through the season, and of course, Ming does have a commanding lead, but we're only halfway through the season. So if he lets up on some of these next few weeks,
maybe
and
Mingo will
somebody
get
else picks
sick.
it
Maybe
up.
Mingo will get sick and miss a couple of weeks and then give Unfortunate a shot at taking over. 8:32 in the morning. Before we jump into headlines, I'm still not running fast. I did some running on Saturday, got 6 miles in, and I'm really happy with that. But missed the opportunity to share in the fun over at the Reef Race. Yeah, Reef Race. Wasn't able to do that. Coming up this weekend, it's the Heart of a Warrior 5K. That's going to take place over at Agania, I believe. That's one of those Chamorro Village runs. And I got to do for my Father Dueñas brothers and sisters, Father Dueñas has won their 5th straight title.
Very cool.
Yeah. That was another game.
Awesome.
48 or something like that. Unbeaten streak that they've had in the last 5 seasons. So congratulations, Father Dueñas, guys. Imagine that. Seniors that were playing in that game over the weekend weren't even in the school when they started that streak. But they've been, to carry on the torch and keep that thing going. So congratulations to the Father Dueñas Friars.
I'll close with what we opened with. In the NBA, Rockets down the Pelicans 126-123. Spurs over the Wizards 124-122. The Jazz easily handled the Kings 113-81. Suns over the Clippers 130-122. And the Thunder 120. The Golden State Warriors 92.
Oof.
That's a 28-point spread that I don't think the Warriors have seen anything like that since they actually got good 5 years ago. So Warriors may be done. That whole dynasty run may be over with if they're going to take butt whippings like that. We're in the first quarter of another game. Grizzlies up on the Nets 30-28.
Quick question. Halloween. Are we costumed Halloween or are we not costumed? I got all of the members of the morning team are here. So we have to decide.
Let's do costume.
Together.
That's what
I'm
doing.
All right, so costume.
I'll do costume.
Costume.
Come on. Yes.
Come on, Mike. Come on. Come on, just say yes. Just say yes, Mike.
I'll say yes, but I'm just going to dress up as myself.
You can come as Jesus.
You be Jesus.
All right.
Well, bring a white cloth for you.
I'm the deciding. I'm the deciding.
I got to wear the bed sheet again.
I don't want to be the hunchback.
I was also suggesting that since I'm going to be a pirate, that we should do my whole segment in pirate talk.
Could have worked.
We'll see.
It might be ratings gold. It might actually be ratings gold. So Halloween week, and so we're going to dress up for it on the 31st. Otherwise, I'd just blow the thing off. 8:35 in the morning. That's all the time we have to pretend to talk about sports. Are there big Halloween week things going on over at Outrigger now? Is the place decorated, dressed up?
Yeah, we're going to have people. Hosts are going to be dressed up for everybody to see. We'll pass out some candy. We got a pumpkin carving costume or contest that we will have the guests vote on.
Pumpkin carving?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So all right.
There's things for the guests to do.
All right. Get anything else going on? Just go ahead and beat me on the WhatsApp, and I'll make sure that gets on the radio. Because if we don't talk about Outrigger at least once or twice in the segment, then Steve's going to be asking, why does she go to the radio station every morning? That's why. 8:35 in the morning. That's Renee. Mana's got news coming up next.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your fix every day with the Points NFL Pick'em Contest. Get the latest updates as we check out the past week's performance and break down the upcoming action. Get your game on by calling the hotline at 888-TALK or sound off on Facebook Live at thepoint.gu. League members get a chance to win some awesome weekly prizes with a shot for your choice of a new GTA phone. The NFL Pick'em Contest is brought to you by Current Guam with special thanks to GTA.
Manami asking the question, who pooped in the pool? Was it Ray or Renee? Excuse me.
Uh-oh.
No, I can neither confirm nor deny that I was anywhere near either of the Ganya swimming pool.
He might have peed, but I don't know about that.
Or the Day-to-Do swimming pool that they've got out there. That's one of the interesting stories that popped out over the weekend. The Ganya swimming pool closed for weeks and weeks and weeks. Finally got the thing open, and then they had to shut it down because of an accidental fecal release, AFR, at the Ganya swimming pool. And sure enough, 2 days later, same thing happens over at the Dedado swimming pool. So just a note here: go before you swim. You know, some people with strange and exotic diets around here, and sometimes you lose control. If you are eating a strange and unusual diet, don't go to the swimming pool, please. 8:37 in the morning, and about time for our last look at headlines with news from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Montecilva Tyron.
The Department of Education is behind in vendor payments. In fact, $2.3 million is owed to vendors, and it has been more than 90 days since they were billed for those. The Guam Power Authority, GovGuam Retirement Fund, air conditioning repair companies, and cafeteria services among the vendors listed. An additional $400,000 has hit the 60-day margin. DOE says that they need to make vendors whole, and failing to make timely payments to these vendors also makes it difficult to get other vendors to work with them. Touting his accomplishments in the last 10 months as unprecedented, Congressman Mike Nicholas says he's not going to take leave while the House Ethics Committee investigates allegations filed against him. Nicholas is alleged to have violated House rules by having a relationship with a staffer. He's also alleged to have misused campaign funds. Nicholas says that the allegations are nothing but distractions and efforts to derail him from doing his job. And a customer at Lucky Land Game Room in Dedado was arrested and faces charges in connection with that robbery. It took place about 3 weeks ago. 25-year-old Timothy Michael Gay was charged with robbery, theft, and assault. According to the magistrate's complaint, he admitted to the robbery and stated to authorities that he needed the money to care for his family. And those are some of your headlines from the Guam Daily Post. I'm Montecilva Tyron.
I'm trying to figure out how a guy managed to get it was $1,100 worth of food. Tried to steal that from
He
Payless.
just packed up the cart and took off. He walked right past the cashier.
Now somewhere out there, somebody's making
door.
the joke, you know, that there's $1,100 worth of food from Payless. It was like 5 items, right? Because there's high quality items that you'll find over.
Well, he did have the blue basket,
right? Yeah. Did he bring his own bags? Is the question that I've got here, among others, in this particular story.
On Wednesday, you have to bring your own bag to Payless. I went to Payless and I got a bunch of bananas and fruit and stuff. And they said, "Do you want to buy a bag?" I said, "No, thanks. I'll carry it out."
Yeah. Well, I've done that there as well. So I've done the same thing.
No,
where
you lift up the shirt.
Lift up your shirt and you got someplace to put everything. I try not to get bags at all when I shop.
All my bags are in my trunk. I just never bring them in the store.
I made a big deal yesterday, day before, because I knew I was headed to Payless at some time. I made a big deal about taking all of these, reusable bags and I've got literally tons of them. And I put them all together and I put them by the door because I knew I was going to Payless. Yeah. And sure enough, I went to Macy's. I had to go to this. What time? We're not in a big hurry, right? We'll get around to the sponsor mentions and stuff in a sec. So I go to Macy's on Friday because I've got a pair of these running leggings that I have. And accidentally, I was wearing them hiking, and I did a butt slide, and it tore a hole in the business part of the deal. So I needed to get them replaced. So I go to Macy's, and they've got, there it is. There's the leggings. That's the size I want. That's the color I want. And it was $50. I went up to the counter, paid for it, walked out, went home, and I wanted to take a look at them before I put it away with the other folded stuff. And son of a gun, the guy left the anti-theft deal on it. You know, that magnetic thing? And you can't take those off in the comfort and safety of your own house. You got to go back, because this one here had a thing that if you broke it, it would break these chemicals inside. And when the chemicals get together, they destroy whatever it is. You know, they mark the material. And I'm going, crap, I really do have to take this back. I put it up on Facebook, and there were a couple of people that said if you had a very strong magnet, you might be able to take the thing out. I have a very strong magnet. It didn't work.
Oh,
so I ended up going back. But I was thinking, I'm going to stop by Payless on the way home. So I go to Macy's, get the thing taken off, and run by the Payless, and realize as I'm sitting in the parking lot, crap, I forgot my bags. They're right there. They're still right there by the door of the house. Anyway, 8:41 in the morning. There's a couple more Payless stories here that I'll get around to, but I got to do this one here first. If you were looking for a job, look no further. They've got one waiting for you over at iConnect. Looking for sales folks. If you're motivated, self-motivated, energetic, and outgoing, iConnect wants you to be on their corporate sales teams. Excellent communication skills, being able to work on a team. Sales experience is a must. Encouraged to apply if you've got all of those things. Send your resume to hr@iconnectguam.com or visit iconnectguam.com for information. iConnect is an equal opportunity employer.
Live the balanced lifestyle. Take Care Insurance offers proven wellness and fitness programs to encourage individuals and families to live a healthy, balanced lifestyle through preventative care, being active, eating right, relaxing and unwinding, and being socially connected. They have the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs for all ages. Join the movement. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit takecareasia.com to learn more.
Right on, 8:42 in the morning. The portions of the program also brought to you by Mescla, where they've got a couple of great specials. Take advantage of this before they switch months, because they're going to give us a couple of new specials on Friday. While you can, 3 Cups Chicken, an iconic Taiwanese dish, is boneless chicken sautéed with ginger, chilies, star anise, scallions, basil, green beans, and a sweet soy mixture. Served with your choice of starch. Visit Mescla in Agana and now in Tumon at the Grand Plaza Hotel. For reservations, call 969-2652.
Hey, do you know what time the bank closes? I need to deposit my check.
You know you can do that from your phone.
I can?
With Bank of Guam's mobile app, it's easy. Just endorse the back and snap a pic to deposit it into your account. You can do this from anywhere, anytime, which means no rushing to catch the bank and no lines.
With Bank of Guam's mobile app and online banking, we're always open. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Montezuma Tyron hitting the road right now. See Big Sister Shelly online. Elisa Kanata and Renee's mom, Grace, might still be watching the program. Manami Jima's Martin is online. Shelly Chrysostomo. Shelly had a great time with you and the family over at Hamamoto Gardens. And my favorite part was working with little Tobias, Shelly's boy, Toby, helping me out with the raffles. That was crazy fun, and I saw the picture, and I'm crazy about it. 8:43 in the morning, and is it time to take our last look at traffic? Yeah, let me see what kind of traffic Mon is climbing into right about now. Looking at the traffic gizmos, a little traffic over at the intersection of 1 and 2 down at Big Navy. A little bit of traffic in Tamuning. Let me see, where's this exactly? It is... Oh, it's just a little bit over at ITC building. That's not too much. You might also find a little bit of traffic heading into the Epal Beach Road in that area. But otherwise, it's all intersection traffic. Don't see any accidents. Don't see anything that's going to slow you down if you were a second-string driver. It's 8:44. That's right now traffic on the point.
Life happens. You need to go to work. The kids need to go to school. There are family events, friend events, any event. And everyone needs to communicate. When you need mobile services that you know you can rely on, choose GTA. As the winner of Ookla's 2019 award for Best Mobile Coverage on Guam, you can rely on us to offer you better plans to modernize your life, fit your needs, and keep you connected. So visit us today and let us help you connect. GTA, we start with you.
6:45 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. Love the images that I'm getting on the WhatsApp. I got a couple of things I want to share with you here. It proved positive that President Trump cannot get a break. He's sent some bunch of SEAL team guys to go and nail the guy at the top of the ladder for ISIS. And I'm not sure whether this is a real screen grab or not. If it is real, then it is proof positive that CNN is completely biased against President Donald Trump and his entire administration. If as I say, that this is a accurate graphic from the CNN broadcast. It says a picture of the guy, and breaking news says Trump kills unarmed father of 3. Did you hear how some of this is the stories that we're beginning to hear now about this is they went after this guy and he was running away and he's begging, and he had these 3 kids, apparently killed everybody with a hand grenade. He was using them as shields against these guys. A crazy, crazy story. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that that's some kind of a gag. There's another picture I'd like to show you, and like I said, we were all over there at Hamamoto Gardens and doing some giveaways in the evening. So there's Dee Dee. And she was my Vanna that night, and then we've got young Toby. And Toby's job was to reach into the Gizmo and pull out tickets to give away. And my job was to make jokes about all the cool stuff that we were handing out to the winners that night. And yes, I was rocking my linens. I was wearing my linens. I figured it's a wine tasting thing in the garden, so I'm going to go wearing my hippie linens, and I enjoyed it. 8:47 in the morning. You got the telephone number for the radio station. Let me give it to you one more time. It's 888-8255. Officer Paul Tapau on the line. And Paul, let me just, before I get started, I want to congratulate, as I like to, men and women in blue, guys and girls on the force that are looking for people that have got drugs one way or the other. I mean, they're conducting the investigations and the examinations on vehicles. I was telling a story earlier about a guy up in Dededo who was pulled over by the cops because he had a problem with his lights in the back or something like that on his license plate. Anyway, cops pull him over and go through the process and realize, hey, you know what? This guy's acting kind of funny. They were able to execute an investigation on the vehicle and found crystal meth. And I thought, great. So let the guys know that I'm behind them 100%.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I mean, that's just our patrol officers, our frontline, our frontline soldiers really doing their due diligence and, going above and beyond, from a traffic violation to, developing probable cause. That really is testimony of their work and, the collaborative work with the community and understanding the importance of drug interdiction at that level, because that really does lead to bigger and better things, sort of say, and really yielding more substantial amount of meth and everything. And that's the battle that we're facing. And I think it's time that we bring that to the forefront of the community that, we are in the front line with the battle with crystal meth, and it takes a community to understand the importance of what we can do. And it really is fitting that this is Red Ribbon Week or Red Ribbon Month, and our guys have been out in the schools, out in the community, just stressing the importance of, refraining from, the use of illegal drugs, because, this epidemic that we're facing, it's really staring to the fabric of our society. And I've seen too many lives go before us and everything. With the use of crystal methamphetamine.
Oh, it's terrible. We're going to lose another generation to this drug. And what really amazes me, Paul, is because this is not a new drug. These are not new experiences that we're talking about. This has been running around in this town since the middle of the 1990s. We've been trying to get a handle on it, and it just gets worse and worse. What I don't understand is with all of the things that our young people see happening to their older brothers and sisters and their older cousins, you get guys that have got problems with the law. They've got problems with their relationships. They get kicked out of every home that they lived in because they've stolen everything and maybe turn into a life of crime and prostitution. I don't understand how young people today can see these things happening and then try ice. What are you thinking? What's going on?
It really boils down just to choices and decision-making skills. And that's why it's important that we work closely with DOE in teaching just the basic decision-making skills. And, a lot of our curriculum in which we bring to the schools, that really, we empower the kids to learn and to make the choices on their own, and showing them consequences. Now, when we go into the schools, it's not filtered. We go in there, we show them that, hey, this is what's going to happen to you, and really, it's decision-making skills, it's choices that they make, and it's really we're bringing that into the forefront when we go into the classrooms, and we tell the kids, hey, these are choices that you have to make independently. You have to understand that there are consequences with every decision that's made, and that's just one aspect, but when we're battling with addiction, that's the thing too that we want to stress is that when you go down that hole to, and you're battling addiction and those demons take a hold of you, it's really hard to get out of. So, Teresa.
It's virtually impossible to get out of with meth. I think one of the things that you guys ought to be doing when you're going to the schools is bring a couple of these meth guys with you and just get them up there. They don't really have to say anything. Just introduce the guy. Yeah, this is Joe, and Joe was a kid just like you. He had a promising career, could have gone into the military, done anything that he wanted to do, and here's what happened to Joe. He tried ice twice and was hooked immediately, and has had to turn to a life of crime, and he's been busted. Now cannot join the military, and is probably never going to get hired by any reputable companies because he's got this massive blemish on his list. And so people need to see this is the unattractive downside of crystal meth. But that's one of the other reasons why I called was I saw something on there's a story about this Korean guy at Kmart and a little girl in the car. And Saturday, I was over at Jollibee, and there was a car parked in front of it, little girl in the back, she was crying, and a baby in a car seat in his car, and mom and or dad were inside Jollibee doing the order. I believe they were inside doing the order. Should I have done something? Should I have, as an upstanding member of the community, gotten into somebody else's business and said, hey, there's kids in the car? Unattended?
Yeah, no, that's everybody's business.
I should have done that.
Civic duty is really life over property, and that's our mantra and what we live by in the Guam Police Department. But as a citizen, preservation of life is important, and people don't understand that we've had cases where kids have had succumbed to the injuries while waiting in the car, and it's unfortunate that the community hasn't grasped that, but there are laws now that are created for that, and we ask the community, should you see that, please contact the mall security, contact the proper authorities, and report it in, because especially leaving a toddler that's capable of manipulating the child restraints and be able to jump into the driver's seat, because they're watching from the back and they see that what mom and dad they do when they drive and everything, and they're going to manipulate that. It's like their brains are sponges and they want to see, they want to try, and it's a learning process. So it's cognitive thinking that they want to try, and it's just their way of growth. But that's one of the aspects. But really leaving them exposed to the elements. Worst case scenario, somebody can actually take the car and run off with your kids, and we want to prevent that. And the eyes and the ears of the community, should they see that, report it immediately, because the worst case scenario, we're always looking at the worst case scenario. An infant succumbs to the elements within the vehicle. Yeah. A child manipulates the car seat and goes to the driver's seat and accelerates and engages the drive, and a crash happens.
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything because number one, there's the hesitation, like I said, to get into somebody else's business, and number two, the car was running. It was on. The air conditioner was on. So I figured, as far as the temperatures are concerned, these kids are going to be okay. But because the car was on, that's one of the places where a crime then was committed.
Yeah, it is. It gets dicey, and that question has been posed many times. I just don't want to get into people's business, but what should I have done? And it really is. It's not getting into their business. It's looking after the welfare of that, the kid in itself, because mom and dad have to be the ones to make the responsible choices, not just for themselves, but the entire family. And when mom and dad make those irresponsible choices, it's only going to be 5 minutes. Somebody can steal a car in 30 seconds.
Sure.
Let's be real. You should consider that as the worst case scenario that can and may happen. So putting those things into consideration, it really, the laws in itself is designed that, 12 to 5 years old is that gray line. And of course, it comes in as a misdemeanor, but it elevates should a child be injured or has succumbed to the elements, then it becomes a felony. So we want to prevent that, and the best preventive way is when the community just takes action and simply reporting it, and just that's the civic duty and which a citizen can do to help safeguard the lives of the kids.
All right. Well, lesson learned there. That's what I'll do next time. Is if I see something like I saw over the weekend, then I'll find somebody, call the police, and see if see if the authorities, a man in uniform, can get into somebody's business or something like that. So the hard and fast rule is don't leave the kids in the car. If you do, 15 minutes. You got 15 minutes. Shut the car off. But you got to be back into the vehicle, back in control in 15 minutes. And do not leave the kids in the car while it's running. So those are your choices. Either go shopping without kids, go to Jollibee without kids, or take them with you.
Yeah, these are choices that we need to make. So, making choices, it really is part of our parental duties.
I got you. Well, Paulie, I'm going to let you run. I appreciate your time, Sarge.
Absolutely. You take care. God bless.
You have a terrific morning. 888-825-5880-TALK. I didn't know. Sometimes you run into those kinds of situations. What do you do? What would you have done? Would you just go about your business and figure, well, the guy's inside. I was 110. They were serving 110 when I got back inside, and he might have been right behind me, 112 or 113 or something. So I knew that the parents were close, at least. And as my friend said, they parked by the window so that they could see what was going on outside with the kids in the car. So some kind of a plan. 8:57 in the morning is the time. 888-825-5880-TALK. Busy morning with a ton of stuff to talk about. A little bit later on, we got some friends from the Hyatt coming in. I think they got some big Halloween deal that we're going to be talking about. A big Halloween thing that is on deck. Something else to look forward to though between here and the weekend. And I don't know to what degree you are prepared for such a thing, but you realize that we're now at the end of October, beginning of November, and supposed to hit the streets. According to my sources, the iPhone 11 will be available for purchase on Friday, November the 1st. I think GTA is among the first that are going to be wheeling it out, but they are out there and they're ready to go. Now, I haven't done a whole lot by way of research on the iPhone 11 to see if there's anything in particular that I would like to see in a new handheld phone device. It's been a while since I've been an official, iPhone guy. I've owned a bunch in the past. Currently have a 10 that's recharging at the house. The last phone that I had prior to getting the Pixel was a Samsung. And it was a Samsung Note 8, and I like the Notes. I like the thing. I like the big screen on them. I like the little stylus that you can write with, and they do a really, really good job of writing and being able to edit and augment some pictures and things like that you'll take. But they put a Pixel 3 in my hand, and I fell in love with it. So before too much longer, guys, you'll be able to go out and get the absolute latest and greatest iPhone. The 11 is going to be coming out. The Samsung 10 Notes are out. You can go and get those now, and it shouldn't be too much longer before we start talking about the Pixel 3, what it has and what it will not have. And one of the very interesting things I was reading up over the weekend is there's software. As an example, there's a Waze, which is a kind of a traffic gizmo piece of software. You can use it here on Guam, by the way, but there's such a demand in particular, this app, like the Pokemon Go app, they can make those things better looking. They can make them more dynamic by increasing the refresh rate. But the problem is, in even the Google Pixel on their own, Google on their own phones aren't going to be turning on some of those high-end features because the battery life will go down to like nothing because they're using everything. It's using GPS, it's using your cell system, it's using a high refresh rate on your screen, and they say all of those things working at the same time make battery life just a couple hours. So don't expect those on a new Pixel 4. Supposed to be great camera, though. Anyway, look, it's 8:59 and change. Coming up, the folks from the Hyatt going to be in the studio. I got Cat Phillips-Huggan online. This is The Point.
U.S. forces take out a terrorist. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News. A daring military raid leads to the death of the top ISIS leader.
The president, in a White House announcement, says DNA confirms Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was the terrorist leader who was killed in Syria when he detonated a suicide vest after being cornered. The president called this kill bigger than the death of Osama bin Laden in 2011.
Osama bin Laden became big with the World Trade Center. This is a man who built a whole, as he would like to call it, a country, a caliphate.
The president thanked several nations, Russia and Turkey included, for their support of the operation. He says al-Baghdadi died like a coward and that no U.S. personnel were hurt in the operation.
Fox's Gernal Scott. Praise for the president now from a Republican senator who called his decision to pull U.S. forces out of Syria a big mistake.
I'm very encouraged by what I see in Syria. Maybe a new strategy that focuses on building up the lives of people in the region, having a small footprint of Americans led by local populations, and securing the oil.
Senator Lindsey Graham speaking at the White House, and from a Democratic senator and presidential hopeful.
We have to take this moment to thank those that put themselves in danger. The decision was a good one, and this is a guy that was responsible for the deaths of so many Americans, so many innocent people.
Senator Amy Klobuchar on CBS Face the Nation. The president and CEO of Texas A&M University says 4 of its students were treated and released from area hospitals following an overnight shooting at an off-campus party. 2 people were killed, at least a dozen injured. There were more than 700 people at the party. The gunman got away. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the all-new Pit Smoke Brisket. How would you like it?
I'll take a man who knows what's what.
Y'all know what? The all-new Pit Smoke Brisket at Subway is smoked slower than a slug going up a down escalator, that's what. I'm talking tender, juicy brisket, naturally pit smoked for at least 13 hours. What's more, it's got layer after layer of smoky flavor. Smoked cheddar and barbecue sauce on delicious Italian bread. Subway, make it what y'all want, what not. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Connecticut water treatment customers don't keep coming back. They're satisfied the first time. That's right. Connecticut non-electric water treatment systems take care of your water problems, and you won't need to keep calling us for repairs. Join the list of satisfied Connecticut customers who purchased their non-electric water systems years ago and are still enjoying clean, conditioned water without any hassles from timers or circuit boards.
American Water Tech, a passion for improving lives through better water.
The head of the 3 House committees leading the impeachment inquiry are again slamming the White House for obstructing their investigation.
Former White House Deputy National Security Advisor Charles Kupperman is scheduled to testify Monday, but on Friday asked a federal court if he should comply with the subpoena or follow President Trump's direction to assert immunity. In a letter to his attorneys last night, the heads of the Intelligence, Foreign Affairs, and Oversight Committees called it, quote, an obvious and desperate tactic by the president to delay and obstruct the lawful constitutional functions of Congress and conceal evidence about his conduct from the impeachment inquiry, and warned Kupperman that he could be held in contempt if he doesn't appear.
Fox's Garrett Tenney. Governor Gavin Newsom declaring a state of emergency in California. Firefighters are working to knock down stubborn wildfires in the north and south. Police in the UK making several arrests in connection with the deaths of 39 people. Their bodies found in a truck in England. One of those in custody is the truck driver.
This 25-year-old truck driver has also been charged with people trafficking, and this comes after those bodies were found in a locked and sealed container near to a dockyard towards the east of London last Wednesday. Now, police have also questioned that truck driver for several days now, and they have arrested a 5th person in connection with this case as well.
Fox's Kitty Logan reporting from London. Former Michigan Congressman John Conyers has died at the age of 90. Fox News confirms he died in his sleep. Conyers served more than 50 years in Congress, representing Detroit and some surrounding communities. He was the 6th longest-serving member of the House in U.S. history and the longest-serving African-American member of Congress. He resigned in 2017 following allegations of sexual harassment. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
I hear it. 5 after 9 o'clock in the morning, 888-8255 is my telephone number. And a couple of things to keep in mind. This program's brought to you by APL. That's American President Lines. Global presence with a local home. And the guys over at Wendy's who are cooking up a fantastic breakfast for you. Now, I could riff on the breakfast over at Wendy's anytime, day or night. I've got my favorites. Anything with applewood smoked bacon in it is groovy, but they've got this thing. It's a country fried chicken. I always used to call it chicken fried chicken because that's the way it looks. And they've got this delicious white gravy on it.
I was hoping you were going to talk about that.
Yeah, right? It's a white gravy, and they've got scrambled eggs. You get some rice on the side here, and just do it up hash browns. You can get all this stuff for like $4 over at Wendy's. But there was a quest, and the quest was, can I get chili on my noodles instead of spaghetti? And we broached this question to the guy at the drive-up at the Wendy's, and he says, yeah, okay. So it's you can go and get spaghetti now, and you can ask them to hold the spaghetti sauce and instead put chili on it. And that is the question. That is the answer to a question that my buddy Ken St. Augustine is asking online. If I can get to a picture that I snapped here earlier today that I stole off of Facebook. He says, "Help me settle a debate. Do noodles go in chili or not?" Ken Gumatautau St. Augustine is asking the question on Facebook. You can answer him directly. Now, I've actually got a Texan in the building with me. What kind of a break in the Ten Commandments would it be if we put noodles in chili?
There is an excuse to use just about anything in chili,
oh, okay.
So it's okay.
Right,
you'll find an excuse.
It's
somewhere.
not like the Texas Rangers going to bang on the door and said you did the chili wrong.
No,
okay.
Not this time.
And if you just want, and like I said, you just make up some spaghetti noodles. Ooh, egg noodles. Yeah, I've also got 2 chefs and a boss of Al Dente in the studio. We'll be talking with them in a second. And that's all I'm going to say about Wendy's for now.
Getting you back to the talk faster. It's the Ray Gibson Show.
Where to now? Where do you want to go now? You know what we haven't had a chance to talk about, just barely scratch the surface on the conversation on what it is that we are going to be doing here at the radio station for Halloween. Normally, I ignore Halloween. Normally, it's just one of those things. I know what I want to do. I want to get up to the house and hand out candy to the kids. But mostly, that's just an excuse to drink beer at a certain time. You just get out there and you got the candy and you got a cooler and all of these kids that you don't know. You don't even know if they're from your village. And just start handing them candy and the whatnots. And so we're going to dress up. We've decided that in the studio we're going to dress up. And I got people I might go dressed as a chef from Hyatt because I like the cooking jackets that you guys got on. I think maybe that's going to be a good play for me. Anyway, as I said, I do have guys from the Hyatt in the studio right now. In order of left to right here, I've got Angelo. Good morning, Angela. How you doing, everybody?
Good morning. Great.
Nice to see you. I got Edric in the studio as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, and then we have Abid. Now you're the big shot at the Al Dente, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm the restaurant manager.
So restaurant manager over at the Al Dente, and it's always been great fine dining that you've got in there. It's like 5-star deal. And one of the things that I recently found out, a buddy of mine works over at AK BMW. Okay. And if you buy a BMW from him, they set you up. It's like the thank you very much. And sometimes they'll in some car dealerships they'll give you a full tank of gas and a chamois, right? But over at AK BMW, you buy a BMW, it comes with a dinner.
Yes, it's a special set menu which is it's designed by the head chef from Hyatt.
I didn't. Number one, I didn't know about that, and number two, it's not like here's your gift certificate, go eat at Al Dente. This is it's a separate thing that only Absolutely. BMW drivers get, right?
It's a very different experience. It's just only for the BMW people who purchase BMW. They get the special set menu.
Okay,
and it's a different experience with some when they they come in, it's totally different service.
So I haven't bought a BMW yet, but I do have a certificate, and so one of these days I might actually, if I could find somebody to say yes to having dinner with me, I might have somebody that will join
welcome.
me. Yeah, come by. Now, where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from India, but I come from Abu Dhabi.
Uh-huh.
So I was working in Park Hyatt, Abu Dhabi for 5 years, so I just come from there.
Oh my God! What kind of experience is that? I mean, working at a Park Hyatt in Abu Dhabi, where the streets there are paved with gold dollars. It's a very, very well-to-do, well-heeled place. So what kind of experience how did you get that job? I mean, that's got to be something people fighting for.
No, not really. Like 5 years back, I was actually with Hyatt Regency in India. So from Mumbai. So after 4 years, I got an opportunity to transfer to Park Hyatt Abu Dhabi.
Nice.
So after 5 years in Park Hyatt Abu Dhabi, I got an opportunity to come in Guam.
Now Guam is one of the best Hyatts that there is. But is there a Hyatt in particular that you want to work at? I mean, it's got to be like everything. You know, in every career, you always say, I want to work in this market. I want to work in the Hyatt in where? What's your dream gig?
Right. For me, actually, personally, I feel Hyatt is, for me, all the Hyatts are almost the same because I love the company. That's what I just stick to it. And the way how it's overall the same.
You know, the one in Shanghai is very nice.
Yeah, Shanghai is also nice. But eventually, if you go to, even if I compare from Park Hyatt Abu Dhabi to Hyatt Regency, the kind of care and love, it's all the same values which is there.
So the Hyatt brand is wherever there is a Hyatt, it's the same high quality customer experience for you, but it's also the same for the customer, but also for staff.
Yes.
They're easy to move around. You can plug in from one place to the other.
Yeah.
But there's no dream Hyatt that you want to work at?
A dream Hyatt would be Grand Hyatt. Grand Hyatt. Actually, I tried for Grand Hyatt Dubai because it's one of the iconic.
Yeah, I thought maybe Dubai was going to pop up. So the other question that people are asking, saying, okay, the guy running Al Dente is Indian. Does that mean that there might be a couple of glances over at some Indian cuisine being added to the menu? No.
Not really. The soul of Al Dente is purely Italian, and we want to stick to the Italian concept for now.
You know, we just had Diwali, and everybody is now. We're all, we've all become like after St. Patrick's, we're all Irish, and after Diwali, we're all Indian. So where do you go to get your Indian food fix?
So basically, I'm just very new to the island, so it's just 3 months. So I'm just still searching out some Indian restaurants, but what I know is only one restaurant in Micronesia Mall.
There's a place at the mall. Imagine that. Maybe I'll ask Facebook Live folks if they could tell you about where to go. Dave Torrey chiming in, saying that it is now 7-0. San Francisco 49ers beat the Carolina Panthers. When I was looking at it, the score was 51-13. So not a good day for the Carolina Panthers, and a great day for San Francisco 49ers fans. 7-0 in the season, unbeaten is always nice. 9-13, and let me go. A couple of other guys that, as I said, wearing chef coats from the Hyatt as well. They're here basically to talk about a get-together for Halloween. But I always get fascinated when the subject turns to food and cooking, because I like to cook. I like to think that I know what I'm doing in the kitchen. So it's always nice to hear about different foods and different techniques that you guys are doing. So we'll get around to the Halloween Supper Club and the deals here in just a second. But I got Angelo in the studio. How long you been Hyatt?
I just turned 11 years.
Wow.
In September.
You don't look old enough. What did you start in middle school?
Much.
This guy's bringing him in middle school. Come on in. So 11 years at the Hyatt. So where'd you start at?
I started out in Hyatt at banquets, and I got tossed around from kitchen to kitchen. From there, I went to Breeze's Kitchen, which I ran for 3 years, and I went back up to Al Dente.
That you ran for 3 years?
Yeah.
That's a hard job. I've seen the back of the house. There's a lot that goes on there.
Yes,
and there's so you do, and you've got so many different outlets on top of the restaurants, and then you've got the F&B that takes place as well. And you guys, it's common to have deals where you're slinging 400 or 500 meals at a time.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Oh, I pretty much live there.
Oh, yes.
That's why I say good morning. Could be better.
Yeah. All right, I got that. And so 11 years ago, did you just start in the hotel, or were you part of a culinary program?
I actually started my culinary program at GCC, and from there I had some people pull me in that were actually working there, and then I basically learned how to cook at Hyatt.
Now that's the story I like to hear, because they've done so much with the culinary program over at Guam Community College, and we've seen, they think about the cohorts that you started with,
Yes.
and I'm sure that everybody is working up through executive positions in different kitchens all over the island, right?
Yes.
Oh,
And
awesome.
one of the things that was great about Hyatt when I started is that I didn't need to go off island to work with different types of cultures and different chefs, because we bring them in every 2 years.
So you're working with some of the cream of the crop. We've got Chef Booty that was down there.
Chef Herman, Chef Booty.
Yeah, so you're working with real culinary royalty on Guam pretty much all the time. One of my favorite things about Mr. Booty, when he first came in, I remember interviewing him and asking him what his big priority was going to be. And there were a couple of them. One was educating some of the younger chefs that he had on staff. But the other one, and I really kind of embraced this, was he wanted to go out and hit all the backyards and the farms on Guam and find as much local produce as possible. So, and I know that that's been a big influence on you guys. So tell me a little bit, some of the things that you are using in your cooking over at the Hyatt, and things that you'd like to get more of.
Oh, correct. So, for example, we're all about sustainability. We're all about supporting local farmers and purveyors as well. As you know, in Guam right now, we have a technical issue with vegetables getting flown in from off island.
Yeah.
So as much as we can, for example, like the dish I have in front of me, it's all locally sourced, including the prawn, the kangkong, and the vegetables, yes.
Nice. Everything on that plate is from here?
Except the risotto.
Okay. Because, we don't have any risotto farms here.
Yeah.
So it's vital that
about
we get
80% of everything is locally sourced.
Oh, I like that. I did a thing on Saturday night. In fact, Veronica was there with me. It was a Guam Sustainable deal over at Hamamoto Gardens, and as you might imagine, a lot of the food there had their sustainable products in there, microgreens and things like that. So we're starting to see a lot more of that kind of thing happening, where people are saying, all right, food sovereignty, sustainability, that's important, but it's also the idea that there are chefs that want to put that local produce in there because it's better, it's fresher. It was in the ground yesterday and it's on your plate today. It doesn't get much fresher than that. So what do you want to see more of? So you were talking about being able to use some of the local goodies there. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do anything with the risotto plants right away, but what you've got some ideas on some things that you'd like to see on the plates.
If we can use local meats.
Wow. There's, there was a story about the wild pig population that we have here on Guam. And I think the only thing that prevents us from doing that on a wholesale basis is we don't have any slaughterhouse.
Yes.
So we'd need to get somebody
to invest in it.
Somebody to, they make portable slaughterhouses. I mean, you can get this thing in the back of a van, and all you got to do is get it blessed by Public Health and Social Services every once in a while. Make sure that it's sterile. Make sure that it's the same, meets the same cleanliness requirements as one of these places in the States, and eventually be good to go. But fresh meats, I like the idea. And then let me move over to another chef I've got in the studio, and Edric. And Edric, since you're the third guy, you already know where the questions are going. So how long you been on the team?
For almost 3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
How'd you get a start?
First, I came from Simon Sanchez as a postgrad student.
Awesome.
Then after I graduate, I went to GCC. Right now, currently attending culinary.
Okay, so you're still in school?
Yes.
Oh, so you can take stuff that you're learning in the classroom and apply it in the kitchen, like right now?
Yes.
Do you have a favorite? Is there a favorite meal that you like to cook? Either on the menu or... Because I always like to ask chefs this question as well. We get into these long, drawn-out conversations about what it is that you're fixing over at the hotel. End of the day, when you're at the house and you're hungry, what do you fix yourself?
Bowl of noodles, microwavable.
I was gonna say, it's a kimchi bowl. What about you?
Just open a sausage or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, nothing major? Yeah, I'm guilty of the same thing. I ate an entire chorizo yesterday. All right, quick question, because there's people listening, and me and my friends like to do this thing called the Bourdain dinner. And even though he's dead, the basic idea is that Andrew Bourdain's coming to Guam. He's going to hang out at our house. What meal am I going to cook, Bourdain, so that he gets two experiences? One of them, my cooking skills, and number two, maybe something that he could only get on Guam. What would you fix for Anthony Bourdain if he came?
Deer Kelligwin.
Deer Kelligwin. Good answer. What do you think?
Just add tortillas.
Just the same recipe, just had to tease us. Whatever, we're going to make this thing local. It's going to be fun. Anyway, so the reason why these guys are here in the studio is something special coming up over at the Hyatt. Halloween is this week. It's Thursday, and if you have not yet made any plans, maybe you're not going to be out there handing out cookies and candies and whatever to the kids in the neighborhood. Maybe you've got a plan to go do something absolutely special. Find your way to the Hyatt because they've got this. I don't even know what to call that. I'm going to see if I can get the camera pointed down at the food. You might need to pick that up a little bit so it's in the camera range. There it is. What are you holding?
I'm holding squid ink risotto with a locally sourced prawn.
Squid ink risotto. There's, if you eat squid ink, does that not make your teeth black?
Oh, it will.
It will. It will make your teeth black. But that's the idea, isn't it? Because it's Halloween.
Correct. It goes with the theme with it.
I like it. You can go ahead and put that down. We'll just talk about that a little bit more. So what is it that you've got on the plate? You've got the squid ink risotto. There is a locally sourced prawn. What else has gone in there?
So inside it also, if you really look at it, it looks very themish within the Halloween. There's also kangkong.
Kangkong.
Or if you know, water spinach.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and we saute that in some pancetta, a little bit of ginger and garlic and herbs. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
So it's a little my take on a little Italian and a little my Asian influence as well.
Oh, I'm digging it. You know what? I'm looking at the Cancun. You know what I'm thinking of though is what do they call them? Garlic sprouts.
Yes.
And those things. That's really good, and you don't get them very often. They're so tasty, and I'd like to see those incorporated more into some of the food. Now that's not the only thing that you're going to be serving up, right? That's just what you brought for me to eat.
Yes. For your early breakfast.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we've got, there's an entire menu here, and I want to see if I can do this right. The Halloween Supper Club is open. Gather where the dark and sinister folks wine and dine for the night. It's going to be Thursday. Spook Tales. Cocktails at the lounge. Okay, I like that. Starting at 6:30. 7 o'clock, everybody heads over to Abid's place over at the Al Dente Restaurante. And then there is is this multiple courses that we're going to be having?
Yes, we will have a 5-course set. It's a 5-course set menu, but it is also paired with wines. So we're going to have some wines, white wine and red wine. The specialty of this dinner is basically we have some new wines which has been newly launched in Guam. And that's called, the white wine is called Blindfold and the red wine is called The Prisoner. The name itself
that's
is
what
spooky.
these are. Okay, there's a couple of pieces of graphics, and I was wondering what that was. I thought it was some kind of tarot cards that I had not yet recognized. But these are actual new wines, right?
Right. They are very new to Guam. They were just lately launched and in Guam. And the specialty of these wines are they are blended. They both are blended wines with blended grapes and made with 80% from French style of making wines.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's different grapes go into the construction of the wine. Oh, that is unique.
Yes, it's very unique. It's especially the red wine is a full-bodied, goes well with especially Chef Angelo's main course, lamb chops.
Yeah,
it just pairs it. Absolutely.
So we'll be able to get, so I'll be able to maybe start with the white and then move to the red as the course develops?
So we're going to give every course would be paired with one kind of wine, which is would be a white or a red.
So the curiosity is, because I'm going back on that blended thing, because that's kind of tripping me out a little bit. How do they ensure that the consistency from bottle to bottle, batch to batch?
Yeah, it's actually when they make this wine process, it's when the wine is made, it's like a huge. It's made in a huge bulk, and then it's specifically they. For example, if there is 3 types of grapes, so they just make sure that every grapes is like 40% of we have Chardonnay, or maybe we have 30% of Pinot Grigio. So that's blend very carefully in the whole winemaking process. And then they are oaked in French barrel oaks, especially these ones are oaked in French barrel oaks, so which makes it very different from the other ones.
Huh.
Yeah, and in the
I guess, so I mean, you don't get, one bottle of wine is not the same as the next bottle of wine, from a different vintage, right? So with this blended deal, here's this big batch, and this will be this vintage, and it will be similar to the next one, but they won't be identical. Because just the different variances from seasons and years, right?
Yeah, if the vintage is yes, but we are trying to get the same vintage, so we give a consistency of taste throughout the dinner, throughout the wine dinner.
James Howard wants me to ask, what is the danger zone for temperatures? What is the temperature danger zone?
For cold or hot food?
Yeah, I guess.
It's between 165 and 141.
Close enough. Smug wants to know, can we get this with red rice? Is there anyone? It's just,
Sure.
dude, it's Guam. And so the
No
answer
problem.
is we're going to have to come up with some kind of starch here. We've got the See No Evil Tilapia Crudo, papaya salad, olive oil pearls, Inarahan salt, and citrus dressing. Inarahan salt? From down there over at the place. Nice. You bring some of that up, and we cook with it. Boil and bubble bone marrow broth. We've got certified Angus beef tenderloins, bean sprouts, basil, cilantro, and local peppers. I know the people that are growing your basil and cilantro, so I know that those are locally sourced as well. The cauldron pit risotto, which we've already seen on the screen, which is prawns, squid ink risotto, cherry tomatoes, water spinach, and pancetta. There is the Witch's Cold Brew, Doni Mansi Granita.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. That's the palate cleanser?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and so that takes us into the heavier course here. Silence of the Lamb Chops. Okay, love that. Is a pumpkin puree, wing beans. Oh my God, Siggity, this. That is so good. You know what? I've got a batch pickling at the house right now.
Very nice.
That's the way I like to eat it. And so I made, wasn't that long ago, I used it to make tenactac. Tried that. Next time you try wing beans, if you can get them, get some wing beans and put that in your tenactac. Also mushrooms, radishes, kabayaki sauce, and malunggay oil. Malunggay.
Yes.
That's what my ate is supposed to be making chicken soup out of.
Correct.
Yeah.
Your tinola.
Yeah, the tinola kind of. Yeah, you can get the tinola with malunggay, and you don't have to go too far from there. There's trees that are growing malunggay right within 100 yards of the Hyatt.
Yeah.
And so we know it's going to be fresh.
Of course.
Yeah, I got that. And then we've got the Fright Night Cheesecake, taro coconut crust, salty chips, dragon fruit, another item that you can get here on Guam, and then mince that locally sourced for all of that stuff. It looks to me like about the only things that you are bringing in here is the Angus beef and a couple of kabayaki sauce. I don't know if that's made around here, but it looks like as much as possible you've put this menu together with as much local source as you can.
Yes. Yeah. We actually planned it pretty well. Took some time into it.
I'm digging this. If you want details, then all you need to do is, and I'm going to say that reservations are probably going to be required for this. It's $120 a head plus a 10% service charge, and that gets you everything that we have talked about in a very, very unique Halloween experience over at the Hyatt. So the question I'm going to ask you, you can come on in real quick. Well, okay, so what's next? Because this is a Halloween week, but we got Thanksgiving coming up. There's Christmas, there's New Year's, and I know you guys got a 5-year plan over at the hotel, so maybe you can spill the beans on some of the things that are going to be happening over at the Hyatt in the next couple of months.
Well, actually, before this month even ends, we have Thanksgiving coming up.
Yeah.
And with that, we have our feast-to-go orders. So if you don't want to cook turkeys or cook whole carvings, you can come by the Hyatt and pre-order it.
Well, see,
us.
I want to cook turkey, but nobody in my family likes the way I cook turkey. So generally the way it works is Shelly makes the ham, and we order the turkey from someplace like the Hyatt, and I just go pick it up in the kitchen on Thanksgiving morning and be done with the whole idea.
Correct. And with that, also, every Friday, we have a pop-up in the lounge. We bring in fresh oysters flown in weekly. So we have a little oyster bar every Friday night at the lobby lounge.
Oh, wow. And so it's you serve it raw, or can I order
we have an option, because some people don't like it too raw.
Yeah.
We could also cook it for you, and we have 3 different various sauces. We have Kilpatrick, we have Rockefeller, and then also Denancy.
Oh,
roasted.
wow. Okay. Then you said that's Friday?
Yes, every
Okay,
Friday.
so I think there's a lot of people that are in their head already making plans to be there on Halloween Supper Club on Thursday, and then Friday go in and try that. What are you drinking generally when you're having raw oysters?
For me?
Yeah.
Honestly?
What's the recommendation? What do you tell the bartenders to push?
Mixed drinks vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me. But I'm not too sure if people want to mix it with wine and all that. But I'm all about the hard stuff.
I hear what you're saying. I got a friend of mine that it's oysters and Tito's then the world is perfect, right?
Yeah.
All right, try that out. At 9:28, and then we were talking about that's Thanksgiving, and then right around, I want to say right after Thanksgiving, we ought to be putting the gingerbread house together, right? Chef Mirko is going to be working on that with the rest of the team, building an actual gingerbread house where you can visit Santa Claus and take pictures and selfies and all that stuff. Hyatt's definitely going to be your holiday headquarters, starting with, and this is unique, I'll bet you there's all the other people in all the other hotels, including all the other PHR hotels, saying, darn, we should have done a Halloween thing. Then we can get on the radio with Ray as well. 9:29 in the morning. Guys, I want to thank you very much for, oh, wait. I didn't touch that. What is that? Put that up, show that in the camera thing. So what are those?
It's a green tea tiramisu.
Green tea tiramisu. Nice. And you guys are making that over there at the Hyatt? That's not store-bought?
No, it's not. We make it.
That's sweet. All right. Well, literally sweet. So here's what's going to happen. Bottom of the hour, we normally break away for headlines or something like that at the bottom of the hour, but not in the 9 o'clock hour. So I'm going to break away, and I'm going to ask Mike to make this break just long enough for me to take a bite of that and see if my teeth get black. Take a bite of that prawn here in a second. It's the bottom of the hour. That's 9:30 in the morning. Portions of the program here brought to you by the guys over at iConnect. They're looking for self-motivated, energetic, and outgoing individuals to join their corporate sales team. So if you've got sales experience, excellent communication skills, and you might be able to work as a team, you're encouraged to apply. Send your resume to hr@iconnectguam.com or visit iconnectguam.com for more information. iConnect is an equal opportunity employer.
Did you know that home loan rates have plunged again? Would you like to take advantage of these lower rates to help lower your monthly payments? Refinancing doesn't have to be for another 30 years. It can be for 10, 15, or 20 years. It's up to you. Reduce your monthly payments. Pay off your loan earlier. At Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender. Credit conditions apply.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Hi, I'm Jerry Roberts, and every day on The Ray Gibson Show, I get to comment on the incredibly diverse, fun, challenging, sometimes frustrating, often exciting, but always interesting world of work. I hope you'll be there with us.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Well, there's just the one prawn, so sorry, Mike. I'm going to have to enjoy this on my own. But there's two of the tea tiramisu, the green tea tiramisu. I'll save you some of that. Bottom of the hour, 9:31 in the morning, and I'm going to take a bite of this, and Michael's going to do the play-by-play as I sample this for the first time in my life.
And as Ray takes it with the tips of his fingers and inserting it into the mouth, a crunchy bite there. A little chew on the front, just to get some of that front side flavor.
Oh, there's some spice in it.
This is good. See,
There's a little. It's got a little bit of bite on it.
And so Ray concurs. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, he takes another bite.
Oh.
Boy, he looks like he's going to run all the way with it. Did he get the tail out of the back there?
Yeah, I did.
No, that's fine.
So I took the tail out so that I can talk on the radio for the rest of the show. But I'm not averse to eating the tail.
Right. Yeah.
If you cook, and this is a trick my brother taught me. If you like to eat the whole thing, there's no reason why you cannot eat the crunchy parts.
Now you got to suck the brains out of the head.
I was thinking about doing that. The thought has crossed my mind here. I have a friend, and the way she eats prawns, I've never seen this before. But first is the head sucking, and then she opens it up. And she's probably embarrassed as hell because she knows I'm talking about her. She opens it up, and then anything that didn't come out from the head suck, she scoops out, and that's what she dips the tortillas or the bread. If you got garlic bread or something like that, you dip that into all of those parts.
Yeah.
And it's the good stuff that if you don't know it's there, you let it get away. And I tell you what, it makes it that much better for the meal. You've already got the body that you know you're going to like. There's all these flavors that pop up in the head. And so get all of that, the brains, eyeballs, all of that stuff. It's all edible and it's all tasty. And depending on who's doing the cooking, and in that case, it was me, so I know it was done right. I'll give you the recipe just real quickly. So the recipe is this. You take about a half a cup of, maybe a little bit more. A half a cup of whatever good olive oil that you got. Don't buy the cheap stuff here. And then you go and get some unsalted butter. And melt that all up. You throw in a S-ton of garlic. You put in as much garlic as you're comfortable cutting into this mixture, and then chili flakes. And you can buy cheap chili flakes if you want to. If you got some leftovers from Pizza Hut or whatever, throw in a couple of bags of those, and let that all gently cook. And then pretty soon you take these prawns, heads on. And I like them big. It's, what is it? Yeah, 8 or 9 to a pound or something like that. I like them big. You put that up into the meal, and cook it until the shrimp is the right color, the prawns are the right color, and go to town with garlic bread and some kind of crafty beer that will complete the mouthfeel effect. It's a great first date meal if you want to try that. Anyway, 9:34. I still have some in my mouth.
I know, right? Mingling about there.
Don't want to let it go. I'm hoping there's some in the
Hello,
beard.
prawns, meet coffee.
I know it. 9:35 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK is my telephone number, and a whole bunch of, what do you want me to do? Are we done with games?
No, we're not, but everything is working out just like we had hoped. Aside from those 2 we lost earlier, we're on track to be green all the way. Texans held off the Raiders, 27-24. New England well in control with 1:12 left at 27-13. San Francisco, oh my goodness.
San Francisco is amazing. I mean, I had a good feeling about them today as well, but I didn't think it was going to be this amazing. 51-13.
Yeah, I thought they would win, but not by that much. Wow, 51-13. That's just crazy stuff.
Unbelievable. Eddie Cruz online. Peter Santos. Mukbang, he says. I don't know what's mukbang. Does that sound familiar? That's going to be the name of the next typhoon that comes through here, isn't it? It's going to be Typhoon Mukbang is the name of it. 9:35, and let me just jump back into a couple of things. One of my favorite things about doing the show in its current format is, number one, I'm on the radio. I mean, so you got the radio thing, but we've got visuals that we can do for you here as well as I can pick up something and put it on the Facebook Live and say, this is what the green tea tiramisu looks like over at the Hyatt. They've got this prepared for you all the time. Personally, I like things with a little bit of a coffee and a chocolate dash on top of it, and they brought me exactly what I'm going to be eating before the end of the day. So that's one of the things I like. The other thing I like about this visual format on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and thepoint.gu, which is where I send people that want to watch the program but don't want me to say their name, thepoint.gu, and it's a visual thing. So earlier we were talking about what it's like in Korea with the drivers there, because I'm trying to get a handle. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm not going to be that guy that says, "Hey, get these tourists off the road. They don't know how to drive in America. We can blah 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 blah." Hell, I would do a lousy job.
Which you would be 100% accurate in saying that.
Yeah,
by the way.
but still. I mean, if I was in Korea driving on the roads with signs that weren't in my language, with a car that's not my automobile, and you could call up some kind of Waze or some kind of traffic gizmo, but would I be able to understand any of that and know how to drive? So I'm not going to give them a hard time for stopping things up every once in a while.
They drive on the right side in Korea, don't they?
I have no idea. Just that in and of itself. I mean, if they're flipping sides in the car or they're flipping sides down the roadway, I mean, that's what more significant challenges. Anyway, so our buddy Al Bautista says, well, in Korea, what they do is they put their phone numbers in a decal on the steering on the front windshield, on the windscreen. That way, if somebody has to move a car or you need to get their attention, you can call the number that's on the car. And I'm wondering if that's something that maybe we ought to think about doing here.
It makes too much sense. You can never do that here.
I mean, just, you got a driver's license. We're not putting that information up. But when we've got the license plates. Unfortunately, though, the license plates, in a lot of cases, they're getting stolen by the thugs, so that if they are caught doing some thug thing on camera and you say, hey, I got their license plate number, yeah, that was probably stolen off somebody else's car, a couple of weeks ago, Midnight Auto. But I think this is kind of a neat thing with where we got the picture of the car, and you can see it, car and a telephone number on there, so you can call them up and say, hey, you're driving like a bonehead, or hey, dude, could you move your car because you're blocking my way out.
Just a note to our visual audience, please don't call that number. It will be a very expensive long-distance phone call.
Yeah, can you imagine? But that's the way it works. So, yeah, because is that something that we want to try here and now? And the answer is no. I don't want to try that here and now because somebody's going to say, would you put your daughter's phone number on the windshield of the car? Would you put a girlfriend's phone number on the windshield of the car? Would your girlfriend appreciate you putting your phone number on the front deal
Why would I put my girlfriend's number on my car?
Well, I'm saying, how would you feel if your girlfriend had the number out there? You know, people see her. You got the tint in the car. Maybe you don't have the.
If I'm a good boyfriend, I ain't got to worry about that.
That's it. That's part of it. That's capital thinking. It doesn't work out that. No, I know. You've only been here for 3 years. Yeah. Because there's girls, they put their number on the car and put it in the front. We'll put it in the back. We'll put it in the sides for a good time call. 9:39 in the morning. Let me just grab a couple of other things that I wanted to riff on before it got to be the end of the day. I have not yet spent a lot of time going over the front or the backs of any of the newspapers today. There's some stories that we've been talking about, obviously. A dad arrested after a child was found in the car. A new bill aims to protect pets. I'm wondering how this is going to work out here on Guam. And I was actually thinking about this bill the other day. I was watching a guy doing something around a dog over at the beach, and I thought it looked like he had a sinister intent to do some kind of ill will to this dog. It didn't turn out that way, but it sure looked like it. And so there's a conversation about a deal that is moving through in Washington, D.C., that we think might get a little bit of support and might actually make some changes around here. I know that there are people, because we've talked to them, Tom Poole among them, that was unhappy with the kind of language that we had in law. Primarily because it allowed not once but twice for kind of a different interpretation of the law at Judge Berdalio's court than most people were very comfortable with. So now they're looking for something maybe locally, but will an even greater attempt at animal welfare and safety take place through legislation in Washington, D.C. So watch and see how that gets played in the next couple of months when that happens. Mike Sinigalis, under ethics probe, delegate does not intend to take leave. And this is one of those things. I'm reading up on it, and you already know my bias for Mike. I like Mike. I like some of the work that he's doing in the States. It is possible that there is a disgruntled employee that has inside information that thinks might be detrimental and destabilizing to Mike's present place, and has gone public with that. And apparently that same investigation that he's called for here on Guam with the Guam Election Commission, they're also looking at in Washington, D.C. Now, where the stakes are higher here is that this has been picked up by much of the conservative media, well, as much conservative media as there is, because it's a great opportunity. If any of it, I mean, just the allegations in this Me Too time that we live in now, and trial by Twitter. This is an ideal set of circumstances for some on the conservative side to say, see, can't trust these Democrats with money, can't trust them around women, can't trust them, get in there and stay on the job.
It's interesting you mention that. I mean, our legal system is supposed to be on the predicate that you're innocent until proven guilty. But in today's world of instant information and everything, it's just not that way. I mean, the reality is it's not. You're guilty until you can prove you didn't do it.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing. And the burden of proof in my mind should not have to be on Mike, or you fill in the blank and anybody else. I mean, put my name in there. Yeah. The burden of proof should be on the accuser. The accuser needs to come out and show proof and not just call for the investigation, because, I mean, that in and of itself is significant enough. I'm reminded of it's a Mike Phillips case from a few years ago, and he defended a bus driver that had been accused of raping a little girl, inappropriate touching on the bus with this little girl, and the case went all the way through, and they finally discovered the little girl was lying. This happens quite often. In the meantime, the same media sources, same reporters, same commentators that basically this guy's name was drugged through the mud. And there were a lot of people that said, see, I told you, and you can't trust him, and you can't trust him around little kids, can't trust him driving buses with little kids, can't trust bus drivers, for heaven's sakes. This person's name was just absolutely dragged through the mud. And the sad thing was, at the end of it, it's not like there was a whole lot of these people that were, crucifying him that would later come out and say, oh, we were wrong, the kid lied, and he's not a bad guy after all.
Yeah.
They don't go back and rewrite the stories.
Can't unsee or unsay things.
And so, you always got to be careful when we flex a little bit on these stories. So the bottom line, and as I said, I've expressed my my personal regard for Mike St. Nicholas and a bias in favor of him, and I would express a bias in favor of anybody that was being called out, especially when it looks like it's politics, baby. So he's got to fight the conservative press in the States, and he's got to fight the deep state Democrats here on Guam. And I'm reminded of something that I told another politician a few years ago who was in kind of similar hot water. And I said, the problem is your friends don't need an explanation, and your enemies won't believe it. So you keep quiet if you want to. And to the degree that Mike's done a decent job being quiet on this one, that's the story. And he's sticking to it, and I can't vote for everything, and I didn't do this, and I didn't do that. And we'll just have to wait until due process works its way through the system. Hoffa, Carl, what you thinking about, buddy?
Hey, good morning, Ray.
I was going to say, give me a long enough sentence I can take another bite out of that prawn. There's still some left on the fin.
All I can say is today, Michael St. Nicholas, and for the last several months, has been my favorite Democrat. And I'm a Republican. I tend to vote rock-rib Republican.
Mm-hmm.
And I've become much more selective even about Republicans. I only voted for 5 total this last election. And that may go down.
Yeah. Well, the Republicans got a big mountain to get on top of if they want to be king of the hill. Lulian Guerrero was she got the vote of everybody, and you know how we are here on Guam. Unless you really tick us off, you're pretty good for 8 years.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to call in and comment that I believe, without having any definite proof, but I've got strong suspicions that Michael St. Nicholas was targeted for destruction because he did not play nice. He did not play by the party rules, and we see that in the states. The Democrat Party leaders are. I mean, I have to hand it to them. They are really good at herding cats. I don't know how they manage to do it, but boy, they keep people in line. If you get out of line, they have ways to punish them. They don't get any sweet committee assignments,
Mm-hmm.
You got all kinds of ways to just get the message across, get in line or you're done. So I believe this was done to Michael St. Nicholas. I don't know if the allegations are true or not, but regardless, if they are made up or they are true, I don't think it would have seen the light of day if he was a team player. And Ray, you've been on Guam your whole life. You've heard the stuff that
Dude, I've seen what they can do. I've seen the way they can orchestrate, and there's such a thing as a phone bank that they can put together at a moment's notice, and it will be people phoning in talk radio talking about how so and so is a dirtbag, and we'll use fake names, and we'll even use fake vocal tools to make it sound like it's all different, and it'll always be this. I voted for Mike St. Nicholas, but with these allegations, the ethics committee is looking into violations. I think he's a dirtbag now. Goodbye. Right? So I expect that we're going to hear those kinds of things from among the usual sources. And it's not peculiar to Democrats. The Republicans do it too. So
politics in general, I think the Democrats are.
I've seen both parties eat their own. How's that?
What's that?
I said I've seen both parties eat their own. How's that?
Yeah, that is true. It's unfortunately, especially nationally, it's a blood sport, and there's some of that here. I don't agree with a lot of the Democrat policies, but I have to respect their ability. I'm thinking of like Carl Gutierrez and people like that. The party elders. they have skills as far as getting stuff, to happen. But and what I was about to say is, you in all the decades you've been on Guam, you like me, you've heard the rumors, the rumblings about illegal, disreputable stuff that has been done, affairs and things like that, by politicians that we all know. Nothing ever comes to light about that. It's just rumors and talk, but none of this.
Yeah, well, look, the smart move is don't say anything. Tomorrow there will be somebody else that is going to be crucified or put over the fires of the political spits here. So I wouldn't generally worry about it. The other way that you can look at it is just embrace it. Embrace it, and I've said this many times. There are certain requirements that I would need to fulfill if I was to answer the call to service in this town. One of them is I don't want to run under any party flag. I don't want to run as a Republican. I don't want to run as a Democrat. I don't need anything from those parties. That's number one. And number two is I don't want to work in a full-time legislature if that's the body that I would go into. I want to keep doing this job on the radio, and that means that I only want to go in when I absolutely positively have to go in. I don't want to go in there and marry people. I don't want to go in there and do any BS resolutions, and I'm not interested in showing up to vote just because we need to rezone some property that we've got a perfectly good commission that should be rezoning property. So let's take all of that cockamamie malarkey and say this is stuff that can be done either by the committees or you just don't need me for the vote. So leave me out of that. And the other one is somebody's going to come out and say, well, Ray, you've got a pretty interesting life. I knew you as a teenager on Guam. I knew you as an adult on Guam. And I know that you've had all kinds of fun with all kinds of people over the years. And the answer is, yes, it's all, vote for me. It's all true. Whatever you've heard about me is true. And that would destabilize anybody's attempts to try to shame me into one thing or another. Whatever you heard, it's true. In fact, make some more stuff up.
Yeah, I think the best approach is to run within the party structure and do what Bob Klitsky did and what Michael Sineklis is doing, and that's just be kind of unconventional and against the grain. Because
but like I said, Carl, I don't need anything from them. What's the party going to do? They're going to tell me they're going to get me name recognition. What? Yeah. I don't need that. I don't need the money because I'm not going to be running as a Republican or Democrat. I intend to start at the general. I will campaign right up to the general. I don't have to run in a primary election. I'm going to change that law.
Yeah. Well, I tend to like what Michael Sineklis is doing, especially if he's running for delegate. He's not as dependent, not quite as dependent for the party, so he can afford to be a little bit unconventional and against the grain, and it buys him a lot of attention and it makes him stand down. And I'm just surprised that more don't do it. There's all these opportunities. The minimum wage bill was a golden opportunity for a Republican to be, the one sole person standing against it and just constantly explain this is why this is a bad way to raise wages. And they would automatically stand out from the crowd, and nobody did it. I was just shocked.
Well, there were some that they made their opposition clear, but then voted for the measure at the end of the day. It was unanimous, if you'll recall. 9:50, dude, I got to let you run because I'm getting a note here that says that we got to take a break. So I'm gonna do a break and then we'll wrap up the show. I'll listen for you this afternoon with Daryl.
Okay, but okay, Ray. It's always
I'll take the compliment. Thanks, Carl. It's all right. Stay out of the pool. Everybody out of the pool. It's 9:52. Uh-oh. Never trust a fart. Be right back.
GRMC's cardiology department treats most complex heart problems. In our catheterization lab, cardiologists use imaging equipment to treat clogged arteries that can cause heart attacks or heart failure. We perform balloon angioplasty, stenting, and other life-saving cardiac procedures. If you suffer from a heart condition, have your provider refer you to GRMC's cardiology clinic at 645-5500. GRMC, where patients are partners.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, mom, dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Oh, that's nice. You know what? Is cool about being Troy Torres' cousin? Number one, I know he's not ever going to come after me. Number two, I think he sends these to me first. Breaking news from the Candid News Group. Telena Cruz Nelson introduces bill to get rid of Liberty machines, pachinko, etc. If passed into law, Bill 226, I'm reading now from the script here, will strike the entire section on poker-style machines and carnival gambling from the gaming rules and regulations. The bill also will outlaw pachinko, video horse or greyhound race machines, and other similar gambling devices. The main prohibitions will be enacted 120 days after passage of the bill into law if enacted. This will be interesting. Now, he makes a, he says, this brings the tally of senators who believe those Liberty machines are bad to Guam society and families to 5. Only 3 more are needed to support the repeal of the game room laws, enacted through a law by former Senator Chris Duenas in the 32nd Guam legislature. Now, Chris will bristle at this, Troy. Remember the record. He had introduced a piece of legislation on certain kinds of gaming. And that was one of those late-night deals over at the legislature that I hate. And they went long into the night. They tied this now to revenue shortcomings at Guam Memorial Hospital and said, tell you what, we will go ahead and allow these machines to be licensed again until the bills at Guam Memorial Hospital are paid. Well, at the time, what do you figure, $20 million or something like that? And they'd be generating revenue with the machines, so that would contribute to bringing down the debts over at Guam Memorial Hospital. The problem was it was a finite list of debts at GMH. They actually had a list of vendors and people that needed to get paid, and it was supposed to end. The licensing of these machines was supposed to end after these vendors had been paid, but the problem was that was never included as an attachment, as an exhibit to this now morphed piece of legislation. And so it made it so that, for all intents and purposes, we would only have to license these Liberty machines until the bills were paid at GMH. As we now know, the bills will never all be paid at GMH. And so the machines go into perpetuity. Easy fix. And I will vote for Telena if she gets. I will vote for anybody that supports this. I was never a fan of these machines, and I always thought that it was, especially with the robberies in the game rooms that we have. I think it's a dangerous place. I think there's some strange people that run around in there, and unfortunately, as we have seen, these are probably the last people that should be gambling. They've got already issues maybe with some chemicals in their systems and abuse of one kind or another. And they're going in there and playing around with that. 888-8255 is the telephone number here. 957. Thanks. I appreciate the heads up on that, Cousin Troy. Items in the table of contents that I did not get to today. $779 will be able to get you one of those Villa Del Mar apartments. 4 bedrooms. $779. And they're a nice place. In Mongmoktoktamaiti, you know where Harvest is, and you know where the church is. So behind the church, on the same road that goes out, that takes you to the Kids Learning Center over at Harvest. That area there is where they've put together all of these new Tony apartments. And like I said, 4-bedroom units, $779. That ain't bad. That ain't bad. I was paying when I was staying over at Ladera. It was 3 bedrooms. No? No, it's a two-bedroom place, come to think of it.
Well, I'm paying almost $6 for what I have now, and it's basically a glorified apartment.
Yes, it's like a studio,
hotel
right?
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one bedroom, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, do you suppose maybe if they start building and putting units like that out there, if that drives the competition down? So if you can get 4 bedrooms for $779, what's a 2-bedroom place going to be going for? What's a 1-bedroom place with a 1-bath? What's that going to be going for? Maybe it will help bring the prices down. Bandits Online, good morning to you. Nate Horn says former governor of Oregon started out as a newscaster, ended up winning the election. I'm just saying. Like I said, don't need the name recognition, don't need the notoriety. I got my own with me. Who else was chiming in? There was I'm not even sure if I've got time to read this, but a buddy of mine on Facebook named Fred. Asking a couple of interesting and probing questions about where we're going to be going with this. Hold on, I think I can call this up real quick. I wonder what kind of pressure this will put on Mike Sinicolas. He and Katie, and that's the woman from California, have so many things in common. They're both freshman Democrats, both defeated incumbents, both were made vice chair of key committees involved in impeachment. Both are accused of improper sexual relations with staff members. Both are accused of improprieties with campaign funds. One has resigned. The other, well, Mike's not going anywhere, Fred. Has the legislature passed a local law on filling a vacancy? We'll see if I can look that up in a little bit. Time, 10 o'clock in the morning. That's it for me. I'm going to enjoy a green tea tiramisu from my friends over at the Hyatt, and that's going to wash down the incredible prawn that I had just a second ago. Yes?
I'm just going to say go Astros. Game 5. Let's do it.
Game 5, go Astros, and football pickings looking pretty good. I am now at 10, and I feel pretty good about the teams that are still left to play. I'm going to have a big smile on my face for the rest of the day. The radio station is KUSG, Hagutnya, 93.3. This is The Point.
Major blow to ISIS. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News. A U.S. military raid into northern Syria leads to the death of Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi.
He was a sick and depraved man, and now he's gone.
President Trump giving the military operation the green light and announcing its success this morning. As it was unfolding, he watched in the Situation Room along with Vice President Pence.
To watch this attack unfold in real time just made me so proud to be an American, proud to see our special forces. They're